Sawa sawa.
Karibu sana to the program. I'm Victor Lo. The date today is 12th day of June 2024. It's
In a
Wednesday.
cabinet meeting.
And when it's Wednesday, it's Ladies' Night. And I will tell you the reason why it's Ladies' Night. Very shortly. Karibu sana to the program. Across our borders, before we come back home, we all know that there was that aircraft incident that went down in Malawi, and now it's been confirmed that the Malawian vice president, that is Saulos Chilima, and 9 others died in that plane mishap that happened in Malawi, and now that is what's happening in the continent and just, you know, our neighbors here in Africa. So that is something that we also be following up. And the president Chakwera also said that directed all flags to be flown at half-mast in remembrance of the fallen vice president. All right, let's come back home. And what's happening in the Kenya Kwanza house? What is cooking inside there? We can see a lot of smoke coming from that house. And that is exactly what I want us to talk about today in The Viewpoint. I have got a panel. I have Mheshimiwa Wilson Sossion, Dr. Naftali Nyamongo. I also have Wakili Kithi, as well as Member of Parliament, that is Yata Member of Parliament, Basil Robert, joining me in studio at exactly 7. So you don't have to miss that. What's cooking inside Kenya Kwanza house? What's cooking? A man from Kenya.
There's a lot that is going on, and the political tussles between Mount Kenya leaders all allude to the looming or the cracks that are there in the UDA, and also you can also see the fracas, so to speak, of the conversations that the deputy president has generated, having been a champion who is now championing the 1 man, 1 vote, 1 shilling. That has brought about a lot of commotion within the mountain, and also it speaks to the unity or lack thereof within the UDA. So that is a conversation that I'll be looking forward to follow and find out more on it. Welcome to the program. My name is Mike Migwe. This is Good Morning Kenya. It's always a pleasure to have you on board. Remember, you can talk to us through our social media platform. We are at KBC Channel 1 on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Send us your comment, your tweet, and talk to us. This is Good Morning Kenya. But before I hand you over to Ray for news, let me start your day with a quote. Never give up on a dream just because of the time it will take to accomplish it. The time will pass anyway. Never give up on a dream just because of the time it will take to accomplish it. The time will pass anyway. That is food for thought and quote for the day. Good morning, Ray.
Good morning to you, gentlemen, and I like the conversation that Victor is going to be having with that particular panel. I have a few questions of my own that I'd want you to actually discuss with the panel that is coming up in not too long. What role does former President Uhuru Kenyatta play in the division or reunification of the mountain? Secondly, in one of our main stories this morning is that we saw the state, led by President William Ruto, forming a committee to look into, demands made by former president in regard to his retirement package. Has it been done before? Why do we need this particular task force, so to speak, to discuss these matters? Then last but not least, why is the one man, 1 vote, 1 shilling debate now an issue? If we go back in time,
yes,
the same people who are seemingly opposing this particular move were the same people who were supporting it in the past.
Exactly.
Political dynamics.
Yes.
I'm sure you're going to be unpacking that as we proceed. And also, what happened to the legal matter in regard to Jubilee's ownership, or rather in as far as leadership is concerned? Remember, there's a case that was pitting Kanini Kegas on one side and Jeremiah Kioni's and his faction on the other side.
Yeah.
What happened to that? I'm sure it will be answered in the course of this particular conversation. As we gear up to the presentation of the finance bill, quite controversial in itself, that is tomorrow, where we're going to be looking at your expectations vis-a-vis how the government intends to raise that revenue, as well as where it's likely to spend. So we're going to be bringing you up to speed with those stories that have been making headlines, and we start now, where President William Ruto has formed a team led by Head of Public Service Felix Koskei to address concerns raised by retired President, that is Uhuru Kenyatta, over his office and staff establishment following talks between the two leaders.
What is so hard about dealing?
So the Commander-in-Chief addressed the issues raised by former President Uhuru Kenyatta over the remittance of 503 million shillings budgetary allocation in the current financial year. According to the State House spokesperson Hussein Mohammed through his X account, the Commander-in-Chief had a phone conversation with his predecessor regarding concerns about facilitating the functioning of the retired President's office. The head of state therein tasked a team led by the head of public service Felix Koskei to look into the retirement package allocated to Kenyatta and solve the concerns raised by the former head of state. The former president's spokesperson Kanzedena says of the 655 million shillings 2022-2023 budgetary allocation, they only received 28 million shillings in allowances for domestic travel and 2 official trips.
Now, before we speak matters finance bill, is that the debate of Mogoka and the ban in the coastal region received a shot in the arm as a section of Muslim religious leaders and political leaders supported the move by coastal counties to ban the consumption of Mogoka within their jurisdictions. That is a story that is developing. We'll wait and see the outcome of that particular stakeholder engagement. Now, to matters finance, the Ministry of Transport has proposed an increment of fuel levy by a minimum of 7 shillings per litre for road maintenance. The Ministry of Environment also defended the proposal to charge eco-levy on electronics, lithium batteries, diapers, tyres and other wares deemed pollutants, saying the levy will be used to set up waste collection points across the 47 counties. Here's Giverson Minor with the details.
In there will be as
a heated debate ensued Wednesday between members of the Finance and National Planning Committee of the National Assembly and the Ministry of Environment over the proposal to introduce eco-levy on electronics, lithium batteries, plastics, tires, diapers and other materials deemed carbon emitters.
We try to understand where are you coming from and what are you doing and what are the gaps and how do we fill those gaps.
Diapers come into 2 forms. We have a packet that has 33 pieces, and we are charging $1.
The Ministry of Environment, through Principal Secretary Festus Ngeno and the National Environment Management Authority NEMA, said the levy will be used in the collection of waste in all 47 counties through putting up waste infrastructure.
And one of the key things that you experience is the climate change effects on the environment, which we are trying to mitigate, Chairman.
We are going to set up state-of-the-art e-waste facility at Konza so that all the electronic waste will be collected and recycled here.
However, the lawmakers decried the move, saying the levy would affect prices of other commodities in the chain and hence raise the cost of living.
Tires are going to increase the price is going to increase by 1,000 shillings. Mind you, there's also motor vehicle tax. This complex analysis affects many other products along the chain, including this Coca-Cola, bread, everywhere, household.
Cabinet Secretary for Transport Kipchumba Murkomen also proposed an increment of fuel levy by at least 7 shillings per litre for road maintenance.
The pump price in now, as of May 2024, is 194 shillings, which with the fuel levy remaining at 18 per litre for the entire 8 years. This difference illustrates the loss in purchasing power of the fuel levy over the time due to inflation.
On its part, the Ministry of Defence, represented by Principal Secretary Patrick Mariru and Vice Chief of Defence Forces John Omenda, called for tax exemption of the Defence Forces Welfare Services, a welfare organization of the KDF, for goods such as vehicles, alcohol and non-alcohol beverages.
Already the laws you have read exempts KDF. So what we are seeking is an addition of the welfare.
This welfare services has been in existence for quite some time, but the fact that its name did not resonate as a welfare service ended up being taxed.
The Finance and National Planning Committee will retreat starting tomorrow to write a report that is expected to be tabled on the floor of the National Assembly on Tuesday next week for debate.
While we are waiting that particular report from public participation that somewhat preceded the presentation of the proposed budget, that's the Finance Bill 2024-2025, quite a myriad of, expressions by different factions there. The eco levy there, the proponents saying that it's expected to rake in a cool 54 billion, while manufacturers, the Kenya Association of Manufacturers, have argued that this particular proposal is going to drive the cost of those particular commodities farther away from the reach of a majority, so they're going to be exorbitant. Currently, when it comes to matters of getting rid of that particular waste, the Kenya Association of Manufacturers has what is called extended producer responsibility. This ensures that this particular waste is collected by subcontracted companies to do upcycling and recycling. We'll be keeping tabs on that. Remember, tomorrow we have our various reporters who are going to be positioned, or rather placed in different places of the country, to just monitor, how Kenyans are going to receive this particular budget and what are their expectations, and if indeed the big question is if the finance bill is going to address the main and key point, that is the high cost of living. Now we cross borders, where Malawi's Vice President Saulos Chilima is dead. In a televised address Tuesday, Malawi President Lazarus Chakwera announced that the wreckage of the missing plane that was carrying Chilima and 9 others who were traveling with him was found, and no survivors on board.
Malawi President Lazarus Chakwera, in a televised address to the nation, said he was, quote, deeply saddened and sorry to inform Malawians of the terrible tragedy. The military plane carrying the 51-year-old Vice President Saulos Chilima and 9 others went off the radar on Monday after his crew was told not to land in the northern city of Muzuzu due to bad weather and poor visibility. The plane left Lilongwe on Monday just after 9 a.m. Malawian time, headed to Mzuzu, where the Vice President was to attend the funeral of a former cabinet minister, Ralph Kasambara, who died a few days ago. Malawi's former First Lady, Chanel Zimbiri, was also in the plane. The late Chilima has been Vice President since 2014. He teamed up with Chakwera to form an alliance during the 2020 election. Chilima is survived by his wife Mary and 2 children, Sean and Elizabeth.
May his soul and this departed continue resting in peace. Malawi, they are now thrown into a state of mourning, and we mourn their loss. Now, to the courts, to the counties, that is, the Kiambu County government has donated a 10-acre piece of land for the expansion of judicial services in Thika. The land is part of the 695-acre piece that was surrendered by food processing firm Del Monte, Kenya, where the local administration also seeks to establish an export processing zone. Details of this in our county news roundup.
Kiambu Governor Kimani Wamatangi said the land will be enough to facilitate the construction of better and modern facilities to enhance service delivery.
It is serene, it is good, it's beautiful, and you will have all the freedom that you may want out there, though it looks like it's a little far.
Meanwhile, a new law court is set to be established in Ugunja Town, Siaya County, as part of the judiciary's efforts to ease access to justice.
This is one of the main agenda of the Chief Justice, to spread out judicial services to everybody, every corner of this country.
And the county government of Kakamega has been urged to allocate funds for the provision of meals in early childhood education centers run by the county.
Inafaa tuweke pesa kwa hii program ya school feeding, tuone kwamba kuna pesa tunaallocate pale watoto wetu waweze kupata chakula.
Elsewhere, the National Council for Persons with Disabilities has rolled out a free nationwide cancer screening program for persons with albinism.
There are different types of skin cancer. So some may be protecting, but the damage for the sun is still there. So now that is something now we have to look into to ensure that the different classes of albinism are being able to be handled.
Human rights activists under the umbrella of Defenders Coalition drawn from the eastern region are calling on the government to ensure that every Kenyan seeking legal redress gets justice.
We also have some challenges where some of the judicial officers are making it difficult for, are becoming inaccessible, making it difficult for people to get the justice there.
Finally, Nyanza Regional Director for Technical Vocational Education and Training, John Wamai, has urged TVET students to engage in dual training, allocating 50% of their time to school-based learning and the other 50% to industry-based training.
We are reviewing the definition of industry so that we can have.
Now, from the counties to matters business, where there is a need to embed nutritional considerations into agricultural practices to ensure that food is grown is sustainable. IFED Regional Director Sarah Mbago Bono says good nutrition is a cornerstone of economic growth and human capital development, where well-nourished individuals are more productive.
Despite agriculture being the livelihood for 63% of low-income individuals globally, a significant portion of these workers, most of whom are small-scale farmers, are vulnerable to food and nutrition insecurity, with 28.5% of East Africans being undernourished. Health and agricultural stakeholders now want an urgent shift towards agricultural practices that prioritize nutritional outcomes through formulation of agricultural policies addressing agroecology.
We intend to actually scale up so that we also capture issues on what the agriculture people are doing, but also to integrate our health education in the agriculture programs, because agriculture also has programs that are educative.
It's not only about making those foods available on the market. We also need to educate the population about the importance of consuming these foods. And I know that some people say, well, I will only eat a fruit if I'm sick, but this is completely wrong.
By ensuring that the foods grown and consumed are rich in essential nutrients, they say, Kenya can reduce their reliance on medical supplies and interventions needed to address the health consequences of poor diets.
Linking agriculture and health in what we are calling a food pharmacy, so that people can be treated from their non-communicable diseases using indigenous foods that are available, grown agroecologically, using the policy that we have formulated in Murang'a County.
Kenya is refocusing its efforts in identifying and tapping into unique tourist attractions across the counties as a key strategy to diversify the tourism portfolio. Kenya Tourism Board CEO June Chepkemei says these new strategies are aimed at making Kenya an all-year-round tourist destination.
Kenya is moving away from its traditional tourist offerings fueled by intense competition for tourists from destinations such as Egypt, South Africa, Rwanda and Tanzania, as well as a changing preference from travelers.
All the hidden gems in different counties is what we are bringing out as KTB, and therefore it is not targeted to specific counties. It's all the 47 counties, but each county has a unique offering that our role is to bring it to life and encourage Kenyans, encourage Africans, and encourage the rest of the world to experience the magical Kenya.
The Kenya Tourism Board is working closely with counties in a phased campaign to showcase attractions that are unexploited. This is expected to enrich Kenya's portfolio. So far, culture, food, agriculture and wellness have been identified as emerging selling points.
Our diversity is our unique offering. We are now working with different counties to package cultural tourism, and we started with the Ma Cultural Festival.
Chepkemei is appealing to the private sector to tap the unexploited tourist sites and customize products targeting both domestic and foreign tourists.
In this first quarter, most of the guests who came were residents, which was a very big boost for us as in the tourism industry.
Kenya targets to attract 5.5 million arrivals annually, earning about $6.3 billion by the year 2028. One of the strategies the Kenya Tourism Board is applying to boost tourist earnings across the country and help Kenya earn that much needed foreign exchange. I'm Regina Manyara reporting for KBC Channel 1.
Well, I'm sure that lady who is doing that reporting is very much familiar. She's the one who's presenting the bulletin this morning. Well, we're not doing this, what we do every morning. That is just giving you a summary of what is making headlines. We are behind the cameras getting that content. So that was yesterday, and the Kenya Tourism Board has already identified 15 counties where it's going to be leading its campaign in the first phase, and the second phase is going to be targeting another 11 counties to just bring forth untapped areas when it comes to tourist attractions, to just try and make Kenya an ideal tourist destination, not only pegged on the wild beast migration that is expected between the last weeks of June to July to mark the beginning of the tourism high season. Now, still keeping up with matters business, the Nyeri County government is scouting for market for leather products made at Leather Goods Production Unit in Rukiria Vocational Training Center. Even though the center has a capacity to make 900 pairs of shoes daily, it's currently producing 300 pairs daily due to challenges in marketing the leather products. Here's our reporter Freddie Mwoki with the details.
Nyeri Town, a town renowned for its picturesque landscapes and rich cultural heritage. Yet beyond its green hills and coffee plantations lies a success story that is reshaping the lives of residents. The rise of a local leather production unit at Rukira Vocational Training Center that is a beacon of empowerment and economic transformation.
In the heart of Nyeri County, Rukira is experiencing economic renaissance driven by the unlikely resource leather.
Now we have already marked.
The genesis of it all dates back to 2022, when the county government of Nyeri established a small leather production unit.
Rukira was a concept that was, it wasn't originally to be Rukira. It was actually a cottage industry around leather, because we realized that leather is a product that mostly is sold raw at a very cheap price, and the owners of the animals basically don't get much from that. So the county government of Nyeri came up with a concept. Why don't we start a cottage industry around leather? First of all, we train the people to run that industry, because you know you must have experienced manpower. Then after that, as these graduates keep on increasing, then you also establish a hub within an urban center, where what they produce there, they can also now go and produce on their own after graduation, and the training school also continues to produce, and then we establish somewhere in an urban center where they can come and sell those industries.
The target was to create value-added livestock products.
The main raw material that we use here is leather. To be specific, we have leather that is known as upper cow smooth, and we source them from the local tanneries. For example, around here we have Sagana tanneries, we have Redmark in Nairobi, and we have others in Dhaka.
The leather unit has fostered a sense of community and collaboration.
We are in the process of getting them a space in Nyeri Town where they can sell their products. We are having a conversation with the Kenya Scout Association whereby we can be producing for them their leather products. You know, they have a lot of belts they require. They have other pieces of leather that they wear during their celebrations. So Rukira is a potential cottage industry that has the potential to grow into a big industry. And it can be able to capture a lot of young people. It can be able to bring a lot of income to the farmers who keep the livestock and they sell their leather.
Local artisans often come together to share ideas, techniques, and market insights, creating a vibrant ecosystem of creativity and cooperation.
I've gained many skills, making shoes, saddles, and very many leather goods. Future plans, I want to start my own leather company. Yeah, produce my own shoes and other goods.
Naprania pia nifugue kazi kama hii, nikuwe nikitengeneza viatu, nikuwe nikipelekea watu hivyo, na pia nikuwe na industry yangu.
The hum of sewing machines and the scent of tanned leather are not just signs of industry, they are symbols of hope, resilience and economic empowerment for all.
As we celebrate this craftsmanship and resilience, industry players in the sector are calling for support and championship of the transformative power of the cottage industry in transforming lives. From Rukira, Nyeri County, my name is Frederick Mwoki.
Now we head to sports and we'll be keeping tabs on to how Harambee Stars actually performs against Seychelles today. That are with 4 points, as Ivory Coast tops that particular group with 10 points. We'll be keeping tabs on now. Now let's talk about volleyball with the ladies. Teresa Oktuke, who excelled during the playoffs as a mid-blocker, will captain the team, assisted by the regular inclusion of Edith Wisa, Laureen Chebet of Kenya Prisons, Lindsay Jeruto of KCB, better known as Toto, are back in the team, while attacker Miriam Musa of KCB is set to make her debut. Among professional players, Sharon Chepchumba and Veronica Adhiambo. The experienced Leonida Kasaya of KCB, setter Esther Mutinda, Libro Agrippina Kundu, and playoffs MVP Juliana Namutira Japheth Munala is the head coach, assisted by Josephat Barasa, while Janet Wanja has been retained as team trainer. Paul Bitok has been named as a technical director, while Ismaili Chege is the team manager. 16 players will be accompanied by 6 officials who will include Paul Bitok and Ismaili Chege to the Philippines for the Challenger Cup in July, but the two will not accompany the team to the Olympic Games in Paris. Well, that puts a cap on matters in the headlines this morning on Good Morning Kenya. I leave you in the capable hands of my colleagues Victor and Mike as they take you through the rest of the programming that includes candid conversations on what is happening in the political scene. I'm Regina Manyara. I wish you a pleasant viewing ahead.
Tukivipata tu hivi vifaa vya uongozi tumefaulu.
Jasiri ana nini?
Unisikia vizuri. Mwambie Jasiri akae mbali na Nuru. Kwani hasa yajionaje sana
Jambo lililotuleta hapa si jambo dogo. Ni sharti uwe na utulivu na ushirikiano. Kelele ni nini?
Kelele ni kwa nini kumchagua kiongozi mpya kunaleta utata namna hii?
Yoshi imejaa kwa Jasiri. Amekuwa akinifukuzia kwa muda mrefu. Inapande puyo nichanganya.
Kama baba alinipendekeza mimi nitakuwa mrithi wake, basi tabaki kuwa hivyo tu.
Tabaki kuwa vipi?
Hey, asante sana. You know they say if you want it, you work for it. I still can't believe my eyes. Why? What is wrong with your eyes? What are they telling you?
Julia.
Yes.
Julia.
Yes, useme kile unataka kusema.
Define something some more.
I am safe. Sisia, I've got you, my brother. Hey, and you can strike because you cannot eat within the school compound. You low-class people have issues.
You thought I wouldn't find out, didn't you? How dare you people mistreat another teacher? A teacher who is only here trying to help you drive out ignorance. Everyone down!
It is a cry for hope, a mark of a successful birth, and in most cases, it is a sound that brings forth joy and pride in every home, but most importantly, an indication of the beginning of life. One of Kenya's focus is to provide quality and affordable healthcare services to her citizens, and we focus our attention on a group of often unsung heroes. They are those at the beginning of life, during times of crisis, and moments of joy, playing an indispensable role alongside other healthcare professionals. They are Kenya's midwives. It was at Haven Healthcare in the heart of Nairobi's Ruai area where we had the privilege of meeting Mr. Lego, a professional midwife with more than 30 years of experience in caring for Kenyan mothers and their infants. He takes immense pride in his noble profession. For Mr. Lego and his colleagues in the field, midwifery is far more than a profession. It's a vocation deeply rooted in compassion, expertise, and the profound art of nurturing new life. Midwives like him rise each day, not only to bring members of the next generation into the world, but also to support mothers throughout their pregnancy journeys and in the first few weeks of life. Here in Kenya and around the world, midwives play a pivotal role in delivering primary level maternal and newborn health services to mothers and infants. They bridge healthcare gaps and ensure that the next generation is born healthy and in good shape, ready to face the world.
It is a long journey, let me say, with this midwifery. If you remember earlier, we had what we call community health workers and traditional birth attendants. These traditional birth attendants did some good work, but they were limited with the knowledge. They didn't have the Dopplers I've shown you here. They didn't have the basic requirements. How would they know that they were twins? How would they know that the baby carried inside the mama has some deformities? How would they know that there is a cord around the neck? Nowadays the technology has grown and this has bridged that gap that was there. Now we can deliver safely. We have managed to ensure that mamas are well educated, well knowledgeable about their pregnancies. They know the danger signs. They would rush to hospital and get the care that is needed before things go haywire. So we have really bridged that gap, the gap of not knowing what is next. We nowadays live knowing what is expected.
When Alego is not in his office, delivering newborn babies or mentoring young professionals, he can be found making rounds with a joyful demeanor, ensuring the comfort and well-being of mothers, infants, and sometimes their families. The challenges faced by midwives are immense and can take a toll on their well-being.
I was in contact with a mother. He had not become a mother because he had no living child, because he had 6 miscarriages. So when this mama got the 7th pregnancy, she came to us and I was lucky to have received her, and we walked the journey. She came when she was only 10 weeks, that is almost 2 months. 2 months as such. So in the 10 weeks, we moved through until 40 weeks. Along the journey, she was being admitted because there was that labor was coming, premature labor. So we had to admit this patient until the last dates. The mama delivered a baby. You see, a mama almost comes out of the coach. You have not gone through the processes of clearing the delivery. She wants to kneel down and to pray before the end of the process. And that one really satisfied me.
Despite these challenges, midwives remain dedicated to their mission of providing safe, compassionate, and holistic care to expectant mothers and their newborns.
In contact with the mother, he had not become a mother because he had no living child, because he had 6 miscarriages. So when this mama got the 7th pregnancy, she came to us, and I was lucky to have received her. And we walked the journey. She came when she was only 10 weeks, that is almost 2 months. 2 months as such. So in the 10 weeks, we moved through until 40 weeks. Along the journey, she was being admitted because there was that labor was coming, premature labor. So we had to admit this patient until the last dates. The mama delivered a baby. You see, a mama almost comes out of the coach. You have not gone through the processes of clearing the delivery. She wants to kneel down and to pray before the end of the process. And that one really satisfied me.
Despite these challenges, midwives remain dedicated to their mission of providing safe, compassionate, and holistic care to expectant mothers and their newborns. With a lifetime spent caring for mothers and newborns, Alogo serves as a beacon of inspiration for those in the profession and those aspiring to join it. We leave you with the words of our wise forefathers, reminding us of the profound respect that heroes like Mr. Alego deserve from us. Usitukane wakunga na uzazi ungalipo.
All right, welcome back to the program. It's now 7:12. Welcome back to the program. This is Good Morning Kenya. We want to take a look at what's happening in the political arena. How have you been so far? It's a good morning here in the capital. All right, so on my panel today, I have got 4 gentlemen. I have to admit that the gender parity was not taken care of. So Wakili Kithi, do not sue us. Even if you sue us, you sue yourself as well. Right? Gender balance. All right. I have got Naftali Nyamongo, who is a daktari. Karibu sana to the program. Robert Basil, Member of Parliament representing the great people of Yatta constituency. I have got Wilson Sosion, former NAT Secretary General, CAS. CAS. Yes. Good morning.
Yes, good morning.
CAS, right?
CAS, yes. Ministry of Tourism and Wildlife.
So you're earning salary?
Eh?
You're still earning salary?
I'm not earning, you have not authorized. You went to court to stop it. Basil here stopped it in court. But I don't know he's going to stop it for how long.
No, we allowed you, but not more than 23%. I mean 23 members. The government can shoulder 50 CAS. The maximum, the capping is should be at
But
22.
as the law says, the law doesn't cap.
Which law? I have the law here with me.
Yeah, the law doesn't cap.
You have a law and we have a law here.
There's no CAS.
You have a copy and
There's
there are two laws
no
here.
CAS here.
No, I'm sure.
So
it's
illegal.
I'm sure, Victor, this is not a court of law to interpret law. This is a studio to communicate information to the public.
Okay, Lekithi, good morning.
Good morning.
Good to see you. It's been a while, gentlemen, and welcome back to the program. Allow me to do this pretty fast and then take it to the panel. Allow me to get through the front page of our local dailies. Let me start with the Star newspaper. On the front page of the Star newspaper, this is what we have here. Counties, 400 billion shillings. Mount Kenya, big winner. That is on the front page of the Star newspaper. Counties, 400 billion shillings. Mount Kenya, big winner. It says that revelations a slap in the face by Gachagua. Those claiming Mount Kenya shortchanged. That is there. So this is for in case of the division of revenue, Northeastern receives second largest share of the allocation. We'll be taking a look at that issue of 1 man, 1 shilling, 1 vote. And by the way, still on Gachagua, I don't. Susan, do you have such a suitcase with you? Is it blue or pink or purple? The suitcase at the airport. We have a lot of travel around.
Blue. Sky blue.
Sky blue. Yeah, we'll take a look at this. What does this really mean? Yesterday we were spotted at the airport going to Mombasa with this suitcase. There you have it. Okay. On the front page of the Standard newspaper, inside Uhuru, Ruto surprise phone call. Inside inside Ruto, Uhuru surprise phone call. This is because President William Ruto has formed a team to resolve the dispute raised by his predecessor a day after it was revealed that money set aside for the retirement package had not been disbursed. And now, already, State House has held its first meeting to resolve the matter. Kanzadena, who is former president's spokesperson, raised that concern 2 days ago. We'll be taking a look at that. Still on matters money, Treasury tax dilemma as IMF comes calling. We'll be taking a look at that also shortly. And finally, what we have on the front page of the Daily Nation, again, Ruto Uhuru seek to end Pax row. This is what's on the front page of the Daily Nation. More or less the same as what we have on the Standard. It's now a climb down. President William Ruto yesterday called his predecessor Uhuru Kenyatta in a bid to stop the escalation of a standoff over the former president's budgetary allocation, official office staffing and security requirements, etc., etc. We're taking a look at that very fast. But let me start with you, Wakili Kithi. What do you make of the front page of the Daily Nation? It's now in the public domain for the last 2 days. And the former president came out claiming that something close to $1 billion from the previous financial year and now this current financial year, they've not received any money. What do you make of this?
Well, I do think it's a genuine concern for the former president to raise it. By the time he raises it, it is because he suffered through a process of follow-up.
Yes.
That hasn't yielded on account of either he can't reach the person he handed over to or he's being ignored. So I think raising the issue in the public was trying to try his case in the public domain, which I think has yielded what we are seeing now, the reaction from State House and government. But it shouldn't have happened in the first place because I think that's an entitlement that as Kenyans, from our taxes, we have allocated to such offices. Basically, he is the only surviving former president. We have a duty to him to take care of him and any other president that serves us and later retires because we have retirement packages for such offices and such offices. But then what I think would be important is bespeaks also of the current government, the instance being that I do think there are priorities where money is allocated and some other lesser priorities where money ought to be allocated but is not allocated. Those who have served in government offices will tell you that you can budget for a parastatal or an institution of government. You can even be given money or allocated money and disbursed, but that money can be recalled because there are other pressing issues.
Yeah.
So it means in terms of priority allocation, that was not a priority office that was considered for disbursements. We do know that there are a lot of withholding of funds to many institutions, including county governments and other institutions. But that is because there are other pressing issues such as disbursements of money for settlement of loans in institutions we've borrowed from in the past. And therefore, if there was a consideration to allocate to institutions, that is one of the institutions that was considered as lesser prioritized or in priority on that account. So I do think it's more about a relationship issue, but also the fact that there are some sensitive areas that could be political damaging or even embarrassing if considerations are not prioritized. And I do think that it should not happen again. In any event, for the former president to come up and make that complaint, I think it was in a dire situation because it is not ordinary for him to rant in the public in the manner that he did.
Which means, when based on what there, it's all in the Presidential Retirement Benefit Act. So when you see such kind of a headline, what do you make of it? Perhaps according to what Wakili says, I mean, the former president must have been pushed to the corner that he cannot come and make such kind of allegations.
I don't think so. It's even wrong for the former president to lament in public through his communication officer when in fact the matter is a matter between his office and that of State House where he was an occupant, and the Presidential Retirement Act is very clear on the benefits, and one contentious issue that is coming out is that he wants his own personal residence to be gazetted as a government office where we'll be operating from, and that brings conflict into...
Can that be authenticated or just rumor?
Yes, it's already public knowledge. It's public knowledge, and Kanzadena confirmed it, and that brings into conflict the provision of the law in terms of procurement. You know, you cannot convert a private residence to be a public office. A retired president is a super statesman and is an institution, and such an office should be an office open to the public, procured by the government, and it should be accessible to all those who would want to access the president. And I think that is one area where there's conflict, and therefore State House as an institution in implementing such a law, if there are limitations, it will not move. And if indeed a retired president is supposed to choose an office, and when you choose your home, I think it's a zero-sum game. You have not chosen. And if you have not chosen and there is no office, that budget cannot be triggered to operate. There are limitations. We've run institutions, and there are certain programs that you can't execute because of certain limitations. And I think this is a matter that should not even have come to the public. It is a matter that Mr. Kenyatta ought to have picked a phone and called his successor, and they talk over it. And it's exciting that we have seen it is President Ruto who took the initiative, called him, and their engagements. And it is also good. We have seen the head of public service had a meeting one-on-one with the retired president on Monday. I'm sure those are the details that are being thrashed about.
If I remember what Councillor
and that now brings us to...
Allow me to cut you short. If I remember what Councillor said is that they have tried to reach out to the State House, and since then there have been no correspondences based on what they've been raised before.
I think you cannot tell Kenyans. It is not possible to tell Kenyans, like when Moi retired, Moi took Kibaki to State House and handed over State House to him at State House.
We also saw
and
that
flew to Kabarak. We never had thereafter any issues of communication barriers between Moi and Kibaki. And in fact, it became an excellent relationship of the two thereafter, and we've not had this. And trying to tell the public that a retired president cannot talk with a sitting president, I think it's communicating toxic information to the public.
Okay.
The Kenyan public expect that a retired president becomes a super statesman, and we have made a law that even within 6 months, a president who has exited office relinquishes responsibilities in political parties and other things, because you are elevated to a position of a super statesman, and therefore,
yes.
A retired president can call the sitting president anytime, can even drive to State House. There should be no limitations as to engagements and talks, and it is. It is good to see now that.
So has there been a phone call between the two gentlemen? Has there been a phone call?
Has there been
a phone call?
Of course, we have seen the
this
sitting president
yesterday after that issue was raised.
The sitting president, President Ruto, called Uhuru Kenyatta yesterday, and their conversation. These are the relations we like to see.
Let me
and this is how we'd like to see the country.
You need to be put in time limit to Sosion. You know he talks too much. Eh?
Okay. I have a stopper for Sosion today.
Yeah. So I think it appears that the president is frustrated, and he said he should not continue suffering in silence. And I think that's the reason why he has tried to invoke, of course, Article 1, going to the people. Because when you talk maybe with your former, the current president who has been your deputy, and it seems like there's no action. So as a former president, you have a right to tell the citizen that I've been maybe trying, but there is no action. And I think that could be the reason why we are seeing this kind of discussion being brought to the public domain. In principle, the former president has a right to receive PACs. But it also means, like what is going on in Parliament, where most of the money that we expected to have gotten by now, we have not received all the money. Actually, we are even considering whether we should allow the CS Treasury to come and read the budget. The reason why this is so, we have arrears. The CDF, we received not more than 70%. The Public Service Commission did not receive all the monies as well. And all these arrears, it is actually, we don't want to set a precedence where we cross to the next financial year before all obligations are met. And that is the same, I can actually tie that to the same complaint coming from the former head of state, where he's dutifully entitled to PACs. He was not able to receive them. And this could be attributed to what I said earlier on, that the 2023 finance bill was not the right, or the content did not really put the right projection for the government to collect the revenue it had anticipated. And it appears the failure of KRA to meet the target could be what has been causing the continuous arrears, where the former head of state, among other state organs, have not been able to receive what is dutifully budgeted for them. Now we are approaching to the financial year 2024-2025, and there is also the second finance bill of 2024, which is even more worse than the one of 2023. And if we continue with this, you may be shocked that what we have budgeted, we may not actually realize or actualize it in the next couple of months. And that will put our situation, our economic situation, in a quagmire. So it's important we resonate with the reality and not just come up with measures that are going to jeopardize plans to collect the intended revenue. Because remember, without KRA realizing the target, it means what has been budgeted as recurrent expenditures in addition to the money for development. If we don't realize that, then you are always having arrears. And those who can't complain, they're going to continue suffering in silence. And that is why the former president maybe has waited for too long and decided it's high time I tell Kenyans what's going on. So let's try to think through and not be escapists of reality, and come up with the right measures so that we don't just come up with the bills. We put a situation where Kenyans cannot, or the government cannot raise enough revenue to meet its obligations.
I'll get back to the issue of finance bill. We have got a day or two to go. Namongo, good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
You have your constitution there.
Yeah. It is very important. Now, it is conspicuous or obvious that there is a crisis between State House and the former head of state. And when you see such a kind of crisis, then it means either party or both are lacking that modesty or meekness. I mean either party or both are being prideful or arrogant because we have the law. There are two contentious issues here. Number one is the issue which the Honorable Soshun has raised about an individual or a former head of state wanting or desiring to convert a private property into a public what? Premise. Yeah, which is very wrong according to the law. Number two, there is this issue of the role of a former president and also circumstances under which the benefits under the Presidential Retirement Benefits Act may not be paid because it's not mandatory. There are circumstances according to the Act which these benefits may not be paid, and they have been stipulated under Section 4 of the Presidential Retirement Benefits Act. Number one is gross violation. If the former head of state has been seen to have gone against the law, gross violation may be holding an office of a political party. Like now, it's not clear whether the former head of state relinquished his partyship from Jubilee. It's not clear because he's not come out clearly to say now, I have quit what? Politics, active politics. And according to the Presidential Retirement Benefits Act, this may deny him what? The benefits. Now, the President, William Ruto, has already constituted a bench headed by Felix Koske. Do not think that this bench is going to just act immediately. These are the issues that the bench is going to resolve. Are you actively in politics? Number one, yes or no? Number three, do you want to convert a private property to become a public property? Does the law allow you this? So let us wait for this bench to come up with what? A report. Because I am seeing a scenario where the former head of state is infringing the law outrightly, and he wants to use that former head of what? Title to bully the current what? Because Council then confirmed that they are operating from the private office, the private residence of Uhuru Kenyatta. And he is the one who commanded this.
It could be because they have not been given that platform to get a place that is suitable to the former president.
No. You see, the government is clear that we have an office for a former president where Kibaki was operating from. It is there. It is there. In fact, Uhuru Kenyatta should be complaining that I'm trying to access the office which Kibaki was using and I'm not able.
Okay. Because it was suitable for president, the former president, the late, that is according to the law, suitable for him to operate from.
Suitable how?
Let's take a break. We'll be right back with you. Suitable how? We'll be right back to answer that question. Stay with us.
Yes, I am.
but we should hold on. Doesn't matter how long you have tried, we should stay strong.
You ask me, could I love you more? There's only you that I adore.
Yes,
but you've lost that someone. The pain is still alive, and all that's left is just someone who's broken inside. And when your heart sees...
Tuseme tu namna hii nikupatie 50 pop saa hii, utakataa?
Siwezi chukua. Unanipa za nini?
Pesa mtu anakataa.
Na kuzo utanipa za nini?
Yaani Kenya mzima ulitembea ukakosa wakili.
Sasa ndani ya estate mahali sisi naishi. Si kila mtu anaita wewe wakili. Hata watu tasituka sana saa ile hawa tabundua kumbe wewe ni mtu ya kunyang'anya watu ni
na kwani kila mtu akiitwa wakili wao nafikiri tu ni wakili. Mimi ni wakili wako.
Hapana, huwezi kwa.
Kuna mahali nimekusimamia kwa wakili.
Hapana, huwezi kusimamia.
Kuna mahali nilikuitisha pesa.
Hapana.
Na sasa mimi unaniuliza nini? Ulikuwako nikiwarakai?
Si ndio?
Ulikuwa nikiwarakai?
Sio ulikuja hapa kama wakili yake.
Mimi.
Na ulikuwa umekula pesa yake, si ndio?
Mimi.
Yes, ndio.
Msee nikieleza hii mahakama unaongea mambo ya urongo na hata uchielewi vile unaongea. Nitakuwa nasema
nani ajielewi?
Uchielewi?
Between me and you, nani ajielewi?
You're
just a confused human being.
Tukivipata tu hivi vifaa vya uongozi, tumefaulu.
Jasiri ana nini?
Unisikia vizuri. Mwambie Jasiri akae mbali na Nuru. Kwani hasa yajionaje sana
Jambo lililotuleta hapa si jambo dogo. Ni sharti uwe na utulivu na ushirikiano. Kelele ni sani.
Kelele ni kwa nini kumchagua kiongozi mpya kunaleta utata namna hii?
Ushimejaa kwa Jasiri. Amekuwa akinifukuzia kwa muda mrefu. Inapandepo yanichanganya.
Kama baba alinipendekeza mimi nitakuwa mrithi wake, basi tabaki kuwa hivyo tu.
Tabaki kuwa vipi?
Welcome back. All right. I'm asked, somebody has just asked me on WhatsApp, they want to know the traffic situation on the roads of Nairobi. I don't know why. Okay. So if you're running late, you're just running late. But because of you, viewer has asked, let me take you a quick one. Let me start with Thika Road. From what I can see, Thika Road is not okay. All the way from Muthaiga, going up to around, that is around Outer Ring, bumper to bumper as you come towards the city center. That is including the superhighway and the service lane. Not okay. Let me get that. And coming to around Westlands Roundabout, as you come from ABC Place, getting into Westlands Roundabout, finally into the CBD, looking pretty fine, nothing much to report here. The only situation I can see is not really. Langata Road, Pia, iko sawa. As you come to Langata Road, good morning. You can have your time to the city. To Eastlands, there's a bit of some problem as you approach, this is now City Stadium. Right, around Makadara there, that's where the problem is. But either way, you can get an alternative route and get into the CBD. Finally, Ngong Road, so far, nothing much to report about. A bit of some traffic as you come towards the Nakumatt Junction, around that area. That's where it's a bit messy as you join Kingara Road there, I can see. But after that, everything is pretty fine. So I've given you a bit of the traffic in the capital city. You can get an alternative route to get to the CBD. All right. So allow me to give you 1 minute, Naftali, because you ask a question, why? And now there's a point that I want you to answer it. If you can, then I give you to Wakili George Kithi. Go ahead. Why?
Why not what?
You asked the question.
No. You said, you insinuated that the president is saying the former premise where the former president Mwai Kibaki was operating from is not suitable for him. It was suitable for Mwai Kibaki, yes, but to him it's not suitable. And I was asking why, what are the circumstances that he has put forward to back or to supplement his concerns that these premises where the former president, my predecessor, was using, it's not suitable for me.
So can we say that it should be now converted into a state office for every former head of state, if that is the case then?
No. It depends on the government of the day, how it's going to operate. Because now, it's like we have only one former head of state alive. So if there were more than two, it's when now we could discuss where can we find an alternative for the other one. But the other one is empty. The former premise is empty. So if it is empty, it goes without saying that the current former head of state living is only one. So he should go ahead and fill this vacancy. Why is he saying that these vacancies, these premises are not fit for me? What is it that is so special that he cannot operate from where Kibaki was
According to the
operating
pension and other benefits retirement for the president, it's written suitable office space. Suitable office space.
I'm asking, it was suitable for Mwai Kibaki. Mwai Kibaki was head of state like him. What is it not now suitable for him? In fact, Ms. Kanse Dena could have contemplated these situations. That the office which we were given, number one, it was not having maybe a coachroom or a kitchen. What are the scenario in envisaging this unsuitability? Why is he not entering this office? So let this bench go and investigate, because it's a heavy matter. When you say a former head of state saying it's not suitable, maybe he has security concerns. But let me tell you, do not think that State House is not aware. State House is aware of everything. So let us wait for the report.
Wakili, go ahead.
Well, let me put it this way. It's not true that a private property cannot be converted for public functions. That's not true. The Procurement Act, as I know it, I've practiced it, is flexible enough for purpose of offering options for situations that definitely are not a constant situation in every situation where you need to procure. So because the law is available and it's a utility value for all of us, it ought to be used for purposes of serving the public and serving officers like we're debating now. The second issue is, I also do not agree that suitability means the former has to be constant to the instant. It's not true. So suitability has a question of the dialogue as to what would be suitable. Then number three, it doesn't mean that what is suitable to a former must be suitable to the current.
Right.
What I propose to say is that the working environment and the environment obtaining for Uhuru Kenyatta is not the constant for Mwai Kibaki or President Moi. And the preference would be different. For instance, the circumstances of President Moi as he left office and went to Kabarak in terms of how he had invested himself and socialized himself with the people of Nakuru or Kabarak was different. And Mwai Kibaki had a very different approach to how he was socialized. And so is Uhuru Kenyatta. So if you raise the question of suitability and say the constant of President Moi should be the constant of Mwai Kibaki and should be the constant of Uhuru Kenyatta, and therefore President William Ruto, the day he leaves office, is not true. So that's elevating an argument to a fetish, and therefore becomes unreasonable on account of how then you handle public matters. I think if it's a benefit based toward for purposes of a former office holder of presidency in retirement, that should be done in accordance with the law. And the law is what is suitable to that person and not suitable to the convenience of the office holder or those that would want to offer.
Allow me to pick your mind in this. You've said that it's not illegal for the former head of state actually to pick his own house or residence to convert it to
or premises for that matter.
So there's no problem in terms
there's nothing wrong with that. Because remember, the question they are obtaining would be conflict. Okay? the conflict based that you are benefiting from the rent that we give you. But the point is we could compensate you for the office as you would hold elsewhere. Because the issue is being compensated for that office. The most important thing is an office being made available or a compensation for an office being made available. So those variables are available, are not like we are stuck and cast in stone in a certain situation that we are cornered. We can't even wriggle out. We have no law. We do have that platform. We do have the laws. I have practiced those laws. I've seen in circumstances where we have procured, because circumstances are such that it's a unique situation that you have procured in a certain way. Even today, we still procure in certain ways, like G2G, because the situation and circumstances are what will be beneficial and reasonably and logical. So I do think that to get our way out on the largesse of what will be logical and probably convenient would not be the best option. The best option is that we are serving every Kenyan with a right. That right is not supposed to be withheld or donated at a pleasure. It is a right that must be given, because the law says our rights are not donated by state. They must be given as a matter of requirement of the Constitution.
Very good. I don't know what you want to say. Something. I want us to go to something else.
I think this conversation, it has opened a new debate. That what really was the spirit of retiring presidents in Kenya? It was decided that we have the term limit so that individuals don't stick to office but accept to proceed on retirement. And once they retire, they will have a certain statesmanship role to play. We've seen Uhuru Kenyatta in terms of peace missions within the region and leading delegation for elections in South Africa. And this is a new culture in Africa. And probably this then requires Parliament now to think more deeply about how do we really treat the former heads of states and how do you expect them to conduct themselves in public duties and political duties, and how should the officers of the retired presidents relate with the sitting president functionally and in a useful manner to the country, so that we avoid these kind of things that we really don't seem to be understanding. You want to justify converting your private residence. When is your private residence going to be really private? Because one, the private residence, the staff must be deployed. That is one. And these are government workers, so many of them, doing different things. The office must be equipped and furnished.
Yes.
Equipping and furnishing personal residence. It becomes a different issue. So I think we should have a fresh conversation, review the act, and are we as a country going to build decent offices for retired president as when it's necessary? Or look at what the presidents do in the US. They are building presidential libraries. You have Ronald Reagan Presidential Library, and that is where he's intact. That is in his home. So you are better doing other useful things and magnificent work. And those presidential libraries become institutions of learning for different people, and they become very strong edifices for the country. So I think we should now begin thinking and debating seriously about statesmanship of presidents when they retire, because
that requires
in due course, it requires serious conversation. It requires serious conversation. But for now, the issues around Uhuru Kenyatta, the retired president, it's already seized by the president, and they have already engaged in conversation. And the retired president is subject to State House, because State House is an institution that deals with the welfare of the president. So I think this is a matter, the conversation will be settled either way for now. But going into the future, we should define proper roles, statesmanship roles of retired presidents. Because from the current spirit of this act, is that they were expected to operate above political parties, above issue, and to complement the leadership of the country.
Right. Let me cut you short.
You know,
Ask him.
and as Osiona, I've told you enough. You need to be summarizing, because he also needs to talk. I need to talk. He needs to talk. Now, when you talk about office of the former president, as the lawyer said, there is nothing wrong with deciding where your office should be. What we need to do, the amendment we are going to push into Parliament, is to put a ceiling, and also we give room for flexibility. For example, instead of building new houses, if you have a house and you are given a park, maybe for your office about, let's say, 200 million or 100 million, depending on the ceiling which you are going to put, you will be given a liberty to choose whether you are official or your former offices. One can be paid by the government to be your office.
One off?
Yes,
Okay.
one off. If you want a new building to be constructed for you, that doesn't exceed the budget allocated for that. That can be done for you. That amendment should be done. Again, let's not compare ourselves with the United States. This is a very small economy. Kenya is like a state like Colorado, or a state like Florida, or other small states. So you can't say the perks given to presidents of the United States should be at par with the perks that Kenya former presidents are given. We need to understand we are a small economy, and if we need to develop, let's not try to overspend. Actually, we should cut on expenditures and inject more money in development so that the country can move forward. Yesterday, I was doing comparative analysis of the GDPs and the progression that several countries have taken. In 1963, Kenya was in another level. We were actually better off, like Vietnam. We were better off. We were better off than Egypt. You know, South Korea was a little bit, not very far from us. But today, you can't compare those economies with ours because of the path we have taken, where you are overspending on recurrent expenditures and ignoring development. Because I know we are an ambitious nation. You want to look to live like kings and queens. But our economy doesn't allow us to do that. Let's cut on these parks and have a ceiling. Yeah. So that you make a decision. If you want you want new cars, and maybe you have a car. You say, this is a ceiling, you decide whether you buy a new car or you use the old car.
All right.
Otherwise, it will be misuse of resources and denying development projects money that should be injected there to open the economy and they create job opportunities for our youth and people who are starting lives.
Okay. Gentlemen, I want us to cross over to something else. We've seen the deputy president of late having some crossfire and raising some concern, and that has been a matter of concern by some members of parliament or legislators allied to the Kenya Kwanza administration. But the question is, what is cooking in the Kenya Kwanza administration? Is it a time for the regional politics coming back, or is it a time for who is speaking the truth, who is not speaking the truth, who is being alienated in the government and who is being brought on board in the government? What is really happening in the Kenya Kwanza administration? Over the weekend, the deputy president arrived at a presidential function in Nakuru late when the event was already on. When he took on the stage, he said he had a problem with the weather, he had a problem with the chopper, so he had to delay for almost 2 hours waiting for that. That's not the only one. We've seen him having a private charter flight to different state functions. So what is happening? Wakili, Naftali, what's really happening in the Kenya Kwanza? Is it, what's cooking?
You know, you can see it.
No, I can't.
Yeah, you can see it. I'm saying, in law we have what we call prima facie. It means as things seem from the first sight. You can see that the deputy president
on the first side
is not, I mean, he lacks that healthy state of well-being, characterized by emotions ranging from contentment and enjoyment. He is not joyful. And many instances, he is become out clear. You know, one thing I'm liking about Rigathi Gachagua, he's not a purist. I mean, he has that background of an administrator. He is not lying. He doesn't lie. He has said, obviously, that I've seen some darkness ahead. And if I have seen some darkness ahead, there is a problem. And if it is a problem for me, then it's a problem for the mountain. So, what he is doing is communicating. He said the other day, I'm not too clever, but I'm not stupid. In fact, what you have said that he went to an event where the president had already arrived, and then he arrived later, but he gave two concrete reasons why he came late. Number one, he said it's because of the weather. Number two, he said his transport logistics was not clear. So to me, my understanding was, I put aside the weather issue. He was communicating indeed that I am being frustrated even in my transportation as the deputy president. That is why you have shown us pictures. He's traveling on private jets with a handbag, without a bodyguard, without a PA. Him personally, he's communicating something. Now, politically, do not undermine regional politics in Kenya. It is our basis, our framework. Because even the Constitution, under Part 3 of the preamble, acknowledges our ethnicity. We are proud of our ethnic, cultural, and religious diversities.
But is it a politics? Is it a politics of playing victim? Wakili Kithi, is it a politics of playing victim? Because it's not new. We've seen this before. I mean,
I do not think so. I think there are two variables to it. Number one is the institution of presidency. We put two offices there, the president and the deputy president. The deputy president is beholden to the principle of collective responsibility. Just like, there must be constant in logic. Just like we said, or it has been proposed here, Uhuru Kenyatta should have picked a call and resolved his issues in-house without going to the public. I do think that insubordination includes reprimanding by whatever witty approach to the person that serves you or who you are subordinate to. I say this because the element of collective responsibility is take responsibility for that institution that you serve. Number two is also a friction between collective responsibility and the rights that a person enjoys. But however much you look at it in terms of freedom of speech and all other freedoms, the moment you propose to elevate yourself, especially in elected positions, you then lose certain tractions of those liberties. For instance, if we tell you, you must conduct yourself by law in accordance with the institution that you serve and the office that you hold, because you hold that office in trust for us. You stop being ordinary. And we had that debate at the BBI Supreme Court case on why a president cannot anchor a popular process towards reforming the Constitution. And the debate was, is Uhuru Kenyatta an ordinary citizen, or is he elevated to a super citizen that he cannot tell the people how I will rule you because he's the one ruling us? And therefore the proposal, because the Constitution is the instrument that proposes how will be ruled, he can't. And therefore the moment you get into the office such as Gachagua did, deputy president, there are things you cannot do. One of it is to complain in public. And if you do, we read as Kenyans as either insubordination, depending on which political side you are, or in the alternative, that then there's friction in that office.
Has he complained?
Yes, he has. You see, a complaint is not to serve by whatever words. It is the way you carry yourself. You see, you communicate by words and by conduct and many other ways. One of it is what my good friend was trying to download, to decode, on account of the reasons that he gives that he is late because of transport problems. If I was going to a presidential function, if my good friend here, Mr. Sosion, was going to be the speaker or the person welcoming the president, he would not give a reason for being late because of transport. He would make sure he sleeps even there a day before, because the following morning he's hosting the president. Because then the transport arrangements are not an issue the president should be given as a reason to get away on an obligation. The obligation to arrive early before the president arrives is that of the deputy president.
It's not
and
a
notwithstanding,
it's a wide decision.
And notwithstanding the circumstances you're in, arrive there like in military terms before the president. So I think that prevarication, he is simply insubordinating the president in that balance. Number two, and most importantly, then is what then are his ambitions? We've seen the president as is now, William Ruto, on what he did to become president in the last term. He started repackaging himself with an ambitious project that he was putting into place. He had his own political party while in government until he became president. So if that then was the process that took him to office, then the deputy president, on the other hand, in terms of argument, will be that he has a right to project himself and collect himself and go to his backyard and put the people of the mountain together for purposes of... Because he needs security. When you're in that office, you also need political security. Political security is the number of people.
Let's take a break.
Thank you.
Let's take a break. I just want to get out of this. Could it be the reason of the 1 man, 1 shilling, 1 vote debate that's coming out? Sosyon does not really want to get this. I'm so sure you don't want to hear that.
Why are you so prejudicial on what I think and what I believe? You alone.
Let's take a break. We'll be right back with more. 1 man, 1 shilling, 1 vote, 1 break. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
Kikohozi cha muda wowote, kutokwa na jasho kwa wingi usiku, uchungu kwenye kifua, afya kudhoofika, tafuta matibabu.
What would you suggest, like the best occasion to make this?
The best thing about this, it doesn't require an occasion. This is a very light meal that you can make when your friend is coming over or you've had a very long day and you need something quick to make. This is your go-to meal.
Thursday, 13th June 2024. All eyes will be on the National Treasury Cabinet Secretary Professor Njuguna Ndung'u as he presents the 2024-2025 budget statement policy. For an in-depth coverage of the budget policy statement, comprising the highlights of how it will affect you, expert analysis and citizens' views, tune in to KBC Channel 1 on Thursday from 7 a.m.
Moja katika amana ambazo Mtume Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam alitusisitizia tuhifadhi ni amana ya kuweka siri.
Kwamba Uislamu umechukua jambo la siri kwamba ni jambo muhimu na ni katika ibada, na yeyote ambaye kwamba atakuwa mwenye kufanya kutoa siri basi amefanya khiana.
Alhamdulillah, no matter what comes my way. Alhamdulillah, my heart will thank and praise and every time I feel it.
Hey, asante sana. You know they say, if you want it, you work for it. I still can't believe my eyes. Why? What is wrong with your eyes? What are they telling you?
Julia.
Yes.
Julia.
Yes, useme kile unataka kusema.
Define some things more.
I am safe. Sisia, I've got you, my brother. Hey, and you can strike because you cannot eat within the school compound. You low-class people have issues.
You thought I wouldn't find out, didn't you? How dare you people mistreat another teacher? A teacher who is only here trying to help you drive out ignorance. Everyone down!
welcome back to the program. Okay, so before we took a break, Wakili Kithi, you are submitting something.
Yes.
The legal term. Allow me to
This
give you a
guy
minute to
came
submit, to finish your submission.
And walked on me.
Order.
Order.
Yeah. Order. Sosion.
Yes.
Order. Wakili, to the guys.
I think to sum up on that issue is the fall of democracy. Democracy beholds division to rule. So that we have to go, for instance, for an election to divide ourselves towards bias for a candidate. And then it is proposed that we should form back to some unity of sorts so that then the ideal will be with those divisions that we have towards an election. We come back and form ourselves as one society and be able to work together as such. But you know, again, in politics, you are not, there's no proposal in the Constitution where you are directed or commanded or ordered by the Constitution on how to vote. You, therefore, would vote on the most available division that's available for purposes of electing someone. Is the person tall? Is the person black? Is a Muslim or Christian? Is the person male or female? Is the person, did he give me money or not? Is likable, or is it my ethnic background? So the immediate division that we have in this, that most appealing for purposes of election and therefore fast forward to after election to how we manage our affairs is ethnicity. And in the event of a threat, when you're in office, having been put in office because of your ethnic background, you retreat to the cornerstone where you find strength. And therefore it is available for anyone who is threatened to go back to the backyard. And therefore, there must be an ethnic base of support when you want to get into politics in Kenya. If that is so, and if I'm right about that, then you will see Gachagua, if threatened by whatever circumstances, retreating ethnically for purpose of attracting and solidifying his base in order then he can politically either survive or politically be reasonable in terms of what he wants to be beholden in government. And therefore, the fact that he is complaining, on one hand, at the highest decibels for now, and then go back to his mountain ethnic backyard to consolidate that for purpose of political gain means that there is a threat that is available against him.
So there is a trick he's playing. You play victim in public, then in the evening you're back to you.
It's not a trick. That's how you survive in politics. Mr. Sosino will tell you so. My good friend will tell you, I have vied for a political office. I know that for you to survive is you have to be appealing to the public by being the victim and therefore the innocent.
They'll give me their views, but before I let you go, what do you make of this picture? The issue of the president going to the United States with a chartered flight came up quite clearly, and some people said that he ought to have used a KQ flight to the US. And they were, the president came out and cleared. And now, yesterday we saw the deputy president taking a flight KQ to Mombasa. We've never seen this before.
Well, I think what you need to do in public and if in politics, when there's a moment that you can seize for purposes of improving on what you're building up, you have to seize it. What the deputy president is trying to demonstrate there is that he is the humble. He's humble and he's suffering. Because the alternative to that is a private charter, is an Air Force plane. And therefore, because I'm suffering, I'm with you. He is one of us on account of the fact that the same transport that I use to Mombasa and my good friends here can use to Mombasa. And of course, that's not, he should have used a bus if he had got to the list. But because he used the plane as wool and not the trappings of power as had been demonstrated before, because he has enjoyed that before, it means therefore that he's communicating to us that he's this humble man, a true man, and a good man.
Using a KQ flight doesn't mean humility.
Listen, as opposed to a charter, then it's humility. Because he would sit next to me. Of course, if he sit in front, that's first class. But the best he would have done is use a bus or a matatu. Then I will say, if he wants to get down, he should get down to the lowest. Then I would or even SGR to Mombasa. Mombasa is home for me, so I know the means of transport there. The point is, he is communicating to us either that he's been denied in the manner that he communicated to justify, or in the alternative.
Allow me to get the three gentlemen to respond to that before I let you go. Allow me, like 3 minutes. So, Sion, you'll take 1 minute because he's also leaving.
No, I think...
to whose advantage? Go ahead.
I think you've asked what is happening in Kenya Kwanza and
yes.
why is, number one, Kenya Kwanza is a democratic outfit, and it's a big party for that matter. And then the issue of what we are seeing around the office of Rigathi Gachagua and his reactions, and of course he has reacted publicly. It has nothing to do with his personal relationship with the president or working relationship, not at all. Yeah, not at all. And we have seen he has retreated to the mountain. So the issues are at the mountain. It's mountain specific. That's nothing to do with the rest of Kenya. Nothing to do with the office of the president. Nothing to do with the president himself. But I think if you look at the mountain in terms of government appointments, it's extremely expanded and strong, and they're strong men. You have the leader of majority. Leader of majority, that's not a small office. A young man from the mountain. You've got Chair Budget, Ndindi Nyoro, a young man from the mountain, very robust, very strong, and very appealing right across. And you have the CS Internal Security, who actually was an option for the running mate for the president. And the list, we can go on and go on. The Attorney General, the KRA, the Governor, Central Bank, and all the rest. And so that presents an inherent political conflict in the mountain. And there is an obvious conversation at the mountain about the future, political future of individuals at the mountain. And outrightly, the young generation, the age mates of Basil and the rest, have come out very outgoing and looking at the future. And the president has made it very clear and is clear about it. And I agree as a teacher and as a mentor. We must think about tomorrow for any country. And the young men of this generation, these are leaders of tomorrow. We might, in 2032, see Basil as the president of Kenya at that time. And it is possible. And if he merits and is elected by Kenyans, we might see our lawyer here as Attorney General of Kenya. At that time, if he merits, Kenyans will be allowed. And now the president has said, we shall mentor the young leaders. And that's a policy position within the party and within government. We are not they should not be and he has gone a step further to say, these young men, stop sticking to your constituencies. Your constituencies, you have only one role, representation.
And that statement came after the deputy president said,
yes,
every member of parliament to stay.
I'm coming to that. But you have another two roles as members of parliament, that of legislation and oversight. Legislation and oversight, you will not have capacity to execute those two. Those are national duties. And so the president is very clear. That then rules out the initial statement of the deputy president. So then the conflict is within the mountain.
Go ahead.
I agree with the lawyer.
Yes.
Number one, I think the deputy president is seeking sympathy. And this is a political strategy that he's using. It's very clear that there are loggerheads with the end of state. Something is cooking within the party. And in reality, if all was well, you would not see him going with the Kenya ways, and actually by being by himself. But what I want to tell Kenyans who are watching this, the head of tribal politics is this 2027. Simply because the generation coming up, they don't even speak their mother tongue. And 10 years from now, these will be voters. So you cannot be saying you are retreating to your ethnic background to seek support. But when things are okay, you even ignore, those ethnic communities from your area. You only remember them when you are pushed to the wall. And these are things that we can't allow. Because in principle, I think Rigiji is reacting when he sees the young people from Mount Kenya coming up and trying to bring that unit of purpose, trying to shun away from tribalism, and that makes him feel threatened. You have heard him talking about these young people without specifically mentioning names, but he feels like the president has a soft spot for some of the young people from Mount Kenya, which is making him feel a little bit, his status quo is being challenged. And that is why you can clearly see him going to the Hodi people, talking of one man, one shilling, one vote, which is rubbish. To me, that's nonsense, and we can't allow it. We have been having that kind of continued policy from 1963, and that is why some regions have surplus of development, when others have nothing, So if we continue this kind of thinking, then the level of disparity will continue, and the gap between the haves and the have-not will widen up. And it is actually killing patriotism. Because how will you tell someone to be a patriot when throughout his life he has never seen a tarmac road? Throughout his life, he has only seen maybe a level 3 hospital in his area, when some areas have 6 level 6 hospitals. So these are a joke. And it has been continued because of that thinking of one man, one vote, 1 shilling. And now look at ID. To acquire an ID, you need 1,000 shillings. So the poor means they cannot even exercise their voting right. Because someone will ask himself, do I use the 1,000 shillings that I'm supposed to buy food for my family to acquire an ID, or should I buy food? They'll say, let me buy food. So you'll deliberately deny these people a chance to exercise their voting right. And that one man, one vote now will favor those who are coming from rich backgrounds. People are coming from areas with resources. And this has been the case simply because from 1963 they have enjoyed most of the services from government. So this someone talking like this is extremely out of reality, doesn't understand where we are moving to. And we are telling them, no, we will not accept.
Everything in politics about timing. Okay, I want to release Kitty. Yes.
I'm seeing the actions of the deputy president from 2 angles, and this is in regard with what the council has said. Number 1, he has that freedom of expression. As an individual, as a Kenyan, he can express himself. That is no wrong for any public or state officer.
Yes.
So when he's expressing maybe 1 man, 1 vote, 1 shilling, or about the weather, about the transportation, that's freedom of expression from one angle. On another angle, I'm seeing it as just council put it. It is just insubordination. It is negligence. Now, if it is insubordination, then the quarters now, Honorable Sushuni, the UDA fraternity, have the mechanisms of looking at indisciplined party members. And the deputy president is the deputy party leader. So if there is such kind of insubordination within the party, there are mechanisms to discipline who? Rigathi Gachagua, up to including impeachment. And when you see the actions of Rigathi Gachagua, if he's not going to be impeached right now, not even next year, if he's not going to be impeached right now, he's going to cause problems with the UDA. Rigathi Gachagua ought to be impeached, then a person should be picked. You have heard how Honorable Sushun has just quoted that they wanted to mentor young leaders. If it is that mentorship and it is sincere, let them do it now. Let them impeach Rigathi Gachagua, then bring Ndindi Nyoro to calm the pressure within what? UDA. Unless
that's a lot of
Rigathi Gachagua is going to cause havoc. He's going to cost you.
He's a lawyer, but he's actually deviating from the procedure. You don't just impeach someone because he's expressing his personal
issues. I'm saying if it were in insubordination.
On basis of gross misconduct.
Because it's
so
in fact,
what gross misconduct?
And just to set the record straight,
as Rigiji committed.
Yes.
For you to institute.
No,
what is
insubordination? Council saying the lawyer
is insubordinating the president when he comes late to the meeting.
But he has given reasons.
Just to set the record straight before the lawyer leaves. Mentoring does not mean undermining those in office currently. No. The president is William Ruto. The deputy president is Rigathi Gachagua. They are in office. They belong to another generation. In fact, my generation. At some point, we shall all exit.
Soon.
Soon. At some
Say
point.
soon.
At some point. At some point. The other young leaders, the other young leaders, Basil and company, they belong to another generation. We must build their capacity. Their time will come. And when that time will come, they will face Kenyans democratically at that time. So we cannot try and kill Basil and others simply because they have expressed interest of certain ambitions in future. We must nurture it. Even me in the teaching profession, you nurture young teachers who enter service to aspire to grow into leadership in the sector over time. And that is a positive thing. Where you get conservative leadership that is very busy destroying young leaders, then you create a desert of leadership going into the future.
I want to release
and that tells you in Europe,
to release Wakili.
If you look at the Nordic countries, the leaders are as young as 32.
Okay, Wakili, you are the one who just opened this car.
Yes.
You just opened that lead. A minute, then I'll let you exit.
Thank you. Now, I think what's right for Kenya now is to confront the fact that we have put together the president and the deputy president as inseparable. We must therefore condone the fact that the deputy president is beholden to instructions from the president, and that institution must be looked at one. But we must also continue to condone, in the circumstances we're in, that is not just President Uhuru Kenyatta telling William Ruto to stop campaigning. It is not President William Ruto and Uhuru Gachagua, and William and Gachagua in the circumstances we are seeing as being unveiled now, if there's a conflict or friction. Even future, it's not unique to now. We must either look at that office and see whether we need to cure some of the things that we are seeing now, where we insubordinate completely the deputy president, or alternatively, we sever so that the president can easily change. If things are not working, change his deputy president and move on with the country. Because remember, the deputy president, if he's strong enough, he's not strong enough now, but if he got his backyard plus other support, he can easily paralyze government on account of how strong he is. So that liberty must be looked into in what we want. But as it is now, it is not unique only to what we saw in the last regime and this current regime. It remains a constant. The deputy president enjoys his liberties, but again can confront to friction the president towards friction, which affects again output in terms of the delivery, because he formed government, the president. Some of those in offices in government are beholden to the deputy president because they were put there on account of the deputy president being given some of those offices to appoint people or propose people, right? And because of that, then it means that the deputy president say word or whatever he says has weight. If it has weight, then whatever he complains, whether justly or unjustly, against the principle of collective responsibility also holds water. And therefore, that's why we read into it as a friction between the president and the deputy president.
Okay. I'll release you.
Thank you.
It's going to be interesting moving forward. 2025 is almost here, and 2027 for the politicians, all of you, you know, there's no time left. I can imagine. Sosion, allow me to release him. You said you wish he stays, but...
Permission granted.
Thank you so much. All right, Wakili, moving to radio, you will also catch him there. But allow me to continue this conversation, because this is not something new, Sosion Mwalimu. It's not something new. We've seen this before in the past, and most probably, how is this going to pan out as we head towards 2027? Because now the president is going to, okay, if he decides to seek for a re-election, then he'll have plenty of choices, maybe one or two people to pick.
I think reading too much at this stage is not necessary. This is a storm in a teacup. You don't blow it out of proportions. Of course, we've seen the reactions of the deputy president. It's no longer secret. We've seen him boarding KQ and carrying a bag, and I'm wondering if indeed he was elected as president, if he was president, would he be still boarding KQ, or things are going to change? I think this conflict between the deputy president and the young leaders at the mountain will end. It began at the mountain, it will end at the mountain. It is not going to affect the government operations. And I don't think the president is going to be dragged into those conflicts at the region. It has nothing. It's not a conflict between the president and the deputy. And if there is a feeling that the president is being too tolerant to the other leaders, I don't think the president can be tied from relating with the other leaders who hold different offices. The president will have to relate with the leader of majority in the National Assembly, who happens to come from the mountain. And he will have to relate for purposes of businesses of the House. The president will have to relate with the chairman Budget and Appropriation Committee, because the chairman Budget and Appropriation Committee holds a big responsibility of determining allocation of resources. They need electricity in constituencies, they need CDF, and that engagement of day-to-day running of business and budget processing is required. The chairman, the president will have to relate with the chair finance committee because of finance bill and other businesses. And that's how it is. When you're a president, you're a president. But then, and the president has made it very clear that we mentor young leaders. That's the statement of the president. The president has encouraged young leaders to move around the country because Kenya belongs to all of us. Not only the country, engage even international, know what others are doing at international scene, so that when that time comes, your mind is not only closed in Kenya, but it's a global mind, it's an open mind. And I think the president is sincerely very open. What Rigathi Gachagua should do is to read the same script with the president and play by the same script. You don't need to feel threatened. If he has ambitions of 2032 as a president to succeed William Ruto, then he has to negotiate with these young men to allow him more time. But that is a different thing, it's a political challenge. But I don't think it would be right to bring those issues, political contestations and from the mountain to interfere with the running of government. The president will not allow that. The government will run. And the intentions of the president since he was elected is transforming the country and transforming every region of the country, whether they voted for him or not. As Basil has said, this politics of exclusion, we must all collectively fight it together. So when you talk of one man, one shilling, it's a very divisive agenda, and which it doesn't have. And you saw the president he spent a lot of time in Luo Nyanza with the kickstarting many projects in Homa Bay and several other parts of the country. Those who clearly did not vote for him, but they are taxpayers and they have a right to development, and you must develop every part of Kenya. That is the intention of the president. He has made it very clear before the public. So I think this issue of Gachagua expressing himself politically and freely within the party is okay, it's quite welcome. I don't think we'll do what lawyer Nyamoko will do. He's proposing that we call a disciplinary committee and no, that is out. And in terms of transport...
Let's take a break.
And in terms
allow me, it's a commercial break. Kindly, let me take a break and we come back. I want to talk about the issue of the finance bill being tabled tomorrow. And it's a big deal, it's a big day for the next financial year. I just want to hear, Mheshimiwa says that they have not been given enough money to run their constituencies. True or false? And how is it going to affect the running of their constituencies as far as that concerned? Governors are also saying that how Treasury is ruining their project plans. All right, so let's take a look at that. Meanwhile, we are also waiting to get that link from State House where we're having a presentation of credentials of different ambassadors and high commissioners. That will be coming up shortly after this. Stay with us. Good morning.
kikohozi cha muda wowote, kutokwa na jasho kwa wingi usiku, uchungu kwenye kifua, afya kudhoofika, tafuta matibabu. Labda ni TB ni ugonjwa wa kweli, ukipimwa matibabu yapo utapona. Daktari kwa ushauri, tumia dawa kwa nidhamu, elimu tupashane, tupige vita TB. Mwa TB, TB waishi poa.
Tukivipata tu hivi vifaa vya uongozi, tumefaulu.
Jasiri ana nini?
Unisikia vizuri? Mwambie Jasiri akae mbali na Nuru. Kwani hasa unajionaje sana
Jambo lililotuleta hapa si jambo dogo. Ni sharti uwe na utulivu na ushirikiano. Kelele ni sana.
Kelele ni kwa nini kumchagua kiongozi mpya kunaleta utata namna hii?
Yoshi imejaa kwa Jasiri. Amekuwa akinifukuzia kwa muda mrefu. Inapandepo yanichanganya.
Kama baba alinipendekeza mimi nitakuwa mrithi wake, basi tabaki kuwa hivyo tu.
Tabaki kuwa vipi?
Hey, asante sana. You know they say if you want it, you work for it. I still can't believe my eyes. Why? What is wrong with your eyes? What are they telling you?
Julia.
Yes.
Julia.
Yes, useme kile unataka kusema.
Define some things more.
Sisia, I've got you, my brother. Hey, and you can strike because you cannot eat within the school compound. You low-class people have issues.
You thought I wouldn't find out, didn't you? How dare you people mistreat another teacher? A teacher who is only here trying to help you drive out ignorance. Everyone down!
Come back now. In a few minutes' time, we'll be, as I said, we'll having that link from State House where the president will be receiving the credentials of ambassadors and high commissioners, 6 of them, and so far for scrutiny. And now I have got 6 ambassadors and high commissioners. Probably I can just take you through that. That is His Excellency Anwar Ben Youssef, Ambassador Designate of the Republic of Tunisia. His Excellency Mr. Patricio Alberto Aguero Vicheri, that is Ambassador Designate of the Republic of Chile. Number 3 is His Excellency Mr. Luis Alejandro Levitt, Ambassador Designate of Republic of Argentina. And number 4 is Her Excellency Ms. Romy Sonia Tincopa Grados, Ambassador Designate of the Republic of Peru. That is non-resident Ambassador Designate. I also have His Excellency Dr. Sabit Subasic, Ambassador Designate of Bosnia, and with residence in Cairo, Egypt. And lastly, Her Excellency Mrs. Joanne Thomas Edwards, High Commissioner Designate of the Republic of Jamaica, with residence in South Africa. So you'll be getting that from State House shortly. Very fast, you've done your part, Mheshimiwa Basil. We've had lots of...
I was finishing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's a bit you stopped me.
All right, okay, sir. Go ahead.
About the transport of the Deputy President. And I think this has been an issue that he has raised in quite a number of fora because of coming late. There is no reason for anybody to turn up in any public event late on account of poor transport. You remember President Moi never used to fly, but he used to travel on road. And it would take him an hour to Nakuru. How long would it take a minister to travel on road from Nairobi to Nakuru? If you wake up, say, at 4 or you sleep there on time. I don't think these are issues that we need to invite and bring to the public in terms of logistics and transport. And probably when William Ruto was Deputy President, he was never accorded military nor police transport facilitation. And I think for a while, Rigathi Gachagua has been accorded military transport. But after the death of General Ogola, we have seen, though it has not been spoken, we have seen the reorganization within the space of the military. And the military are saying, we are not political. We only recognize the commander-in-chief. They don't know somebody called a president. The military, they don't know a president. They know a commander-in-chief.
Yeah.
And the deputy to the commander-in-chief is the chief of the defense forces in terms of protocol. And probably near there is the CS Defense, who is only transported on military assignments. And therefore, facilities of the military are not whatsoever available for use by politicians. And those are the changes within the military that might have affected certain aspects of change in transport, which is normal, which is expected. And therefore, the office of the deputy president should not hide this type of transport. We should, in fact, flying around the country is not with choppers and whatnot and with taxpayers. Man, I think this one we should rethink about it. If tomorrow I'm wanted for duty in Mombasa for purposes of my ministry, provided I have notice of duty, it is myself to make arrangements to be there, whether by road, whether by SGR, or whether I use my own air ticket in Kenya Airways, or whether I procure a chopper. It's up to you to organize yourselves. And we've led institutions, even Parliament. If you're supposed to be seated at the chambers at 2:30, you will be seated at the chambers at 2:30. There will be no reason, Basil, you give reason that I was late in the constituents are doing this. Up to you to organize. Let us run our country in a disciplined and orderly, transparent and accountable manner. So some of these things is about governance. And I think the governance issue will need all of us Kenyans to talk about it collectively.
There's something I picked in terms of the military allocation of transport and that order and the hierarchy. There's something I picked there. Perhaps we do not even see it from that level. Okay, so tomorrow is a big day. The next financial year, that is going to be debated, table tomorrow in Parliament. Mr. Basil, what is your expectation? Did you submit your, did you participate in the public participation?
You mean for budget?
Yes.
Yes, I did. But
what was the input? Maybe we can start from that.
I'll start with the on education element.
Right.
You know, initially we have the interns, the JSS interns, who have not been contracted on permanent and pensionable terms. With this coming budget, we have actually allocated funds to be able to accommodate all the interns, the JSS interns, to actually transform their contracts to permanent and pensionable terms. So these has solved the stalemate and the crisis that we have seen with the interns trying to demonstrate. On matters to do with the trying to mitigate the disparity on electricity connectivity that we have witnessed over the years, as members of parliament and through our involvement in the budget process making, we have been able to allocate at least 50 million shillings for each constituency to support rural electrification programs. On top of that, we have also been able to review upwards the resources allocated to county governments from the initial 370 billion to about 400 billion. And this is money that is going to strengthen or reinforce health infrastructure within the 47 counties. If you go to many dispensaries today, my parents cannot, or sick patients cannot be able to get or access basic health supplies. We are talking of drugs, etc., which basically is denying the poor the right to access medical health services. On the capitation matters, we have also been able to allocate money for capitation to ensure that all primary schools remain afloat and are able to run, operate smoothly without having to wait for capitation money for quite some time. What has not impressed me in the budget, and I put it on the floor actually when I was making my contribution, agriculture is a very essential sector in our government. And any country that's to move forward has to invest so much in production. We have only budgeted 10 billion in agriculture. And out of that 10 billion, 4 is going to subsidize fertilizer. And if you do profiling on soil analysis across the country, you find only about 3 counties are the ones that need fertilizer. The rest of the 44 counties do not need necessarily fertilizer, because you find most of the soil is arable soil, very fertile. What is lacking in its water. So I expected, instead of pumping 4 billion to subsidize fertilizer, we had more money to boost irrigated agriculture, irrigated and mechanized agriculture, so that we can be able to produce more for domestic consumption and also for export. If you look today, Kenya is a net importer of food, and that is giving us a very negative and a very sick balance of payment, where most of our money, there's outflow of money going to other countries. And when it comes to balance of trade, it's still not very healthy, because when you have more imports than exports, then in reality you are losing so much of your local currency in the international transaction. And you have seen how our shilling has been underperforming. If you get baseline data for the last 10 years, from the time of President Kibaki, then you come to the time of Uhuru, that is the 10 years for Kibaki, that is 20 years. If you get that, you do comparative analysis of trending, now our shilling is performing, it will tell you for sure we need to do something to mitigate this. And that the only way to do that, you inject so much on production, that is food security in agriculture, then you focus more on manufacturing, because manufacturing cannot survive without being supported by agriculture, where most of the raw materials should come from. So there is so much, and I mentioned this, I told Parliament as patriots, people are thinking, forward-thinking people, and who are willing to move our country to the next level. We need to understand how to reprioritize our budget allocation. And again, we don't expect what we have seen, where the CS, the Minister of Agriculture, they bought stones and sold to poor farmers, purporting that these are fertilizers. That was a very embarrassing situation. So we hope the 4 billion budgeted for subsidized fertilizers are not going to be subjected to a similar scam, where you are buying poor quality fertilizer and selling to poor farmers. That is being a threat to food security, where you are supposed to protect. His main mandate is to uphold high level of integrity and be able to serve Kenyans diligently. So it is a paradox or an irony, where you are supposed to ensure food security is actualized as Kenya moves forward to be able to feed its citizens. But in contrary, you are the one killing food security by giving farmers nothing, poor quality fertilizers, and actually you are selling to them. So you are adding to the impoverization these farmers have experienced over the time. So yeah, so that's in summary, that is the highlights that we expect to hear tomorrow. And of course, now the last one, which I said, it is budgeting is one thing. By releasing money from Exchequer is another thing. We have been getting these huge fingers, but this money doesn't move from Treasury.
I'll ask you that.
That is affecting development.
Of course, even the governors are now saying that Treasury, the release of money from the Treasury is now affecting their development plans. But then now, the current bill seeks to raise 302 billion shillings worth of additional tax revenue in 2024-2025 financial year. Then the question is, according to what Mheshimiwa is saying, there are certain priorities, Wakili, certain priorities. What do you think should be done this time around?
Okay, you know, we have been engaging through public participation.
Yes.
Because according to the law, before a bill is formulated and drafted and presented to Parliament, it has to go through public participation. And the Kenyans have gone forth to express their concerns as far as the finance Act 2024 is concerned, and you have been listening, people have been voicing out that this is what we want. Some of the areas that I've picked, most Kenyans want the Finance Act to handle is to reduce reduce VAT on petroleum products, and also to reduce road maintenance levy, and also to reduce VAT on basic food items, to zero rate VAT on basic food items, and also to do what? To remove VAT on locally published books and educational materials. This is because most parents are struggling with education, to educate their children. Now, one thing I would like the people of Kenya to know is that the budget process, as Mheshimiwa Basira has just contemplated, in fact, it's a parliamentary process. Most of the people of Kenya think that this Finance Act is about the president. It's not about the president. In fact, most of the bills originate from the cabinet. But in regard now to the finance, the budget process, mostly this comes from parliament. That's why we have an annual appropriation bill. It's about the National Assembly. A supplementary appropriation is about the parliament. Parliament has been vested powers to determine national allocation to the national and the county governments, to appropriate expenditure to the national government and other national state organs. So when this Finance Act is going to pass, whether it passes or not, let the people of Kenya know that it is Parliament that has failed them or have acted in accordance to them. Remember, Victor, there are 4 features that we need to understand about the government of Kenya. Number 1, the government of Kenya is a republic. Number 2, it is a unitary state. Number 3, it is a representative democracy. And then number 4, it's a presidential system. A republic means it's a political system in which the supreme power lies in a board of citizens who can elect the people to represent them. And when we elected our members of parliament, especially the National Assembly, because Article 95 sub-Article 2 says the National Assembly deliberates and resolves issues of concern to the people. So with the people, we have participated in that public participation. And we have said that if you don't reduce VAT on petroleum products, my member of parliament from Kitutu Church North do not pass it. If the budget, the Committee on Finance and Planning has not considered to zero rate VAT on basic food items, please do not pass it. So when it's going to pass, do not say it's the president. No. If it passes and then the people of Kenya feel hard pressed by hard living standards, then it's the members of parliament, and especially the members of the National Assembly, like now Mheshimiwa Basira. So if you are going to pass for us this budget and the way it's going to hurt the people of Kenya, the people of Kenya who chose you, who elected you democratically, will do the same in 2027 to now remove you from office. Because we have analyzed that indeed the books, zero rate items on books, items on education. Most of the population in Kenya, where pupils and students are learning at a low,
the finance bill will be tabled tomorrow.
Income earners. So we are requesting the members of the National Assembly, not the president, because the president is waiting for Parliament, which is the National Assembly, to pass that financial act for him to append his what? Signature. So let us not cry that the president has defaulted our social contract. We will cry.
Mheshimiwa Basil says that there's a point that you've missed somewhere. Maybe.
No, I think he doesn't seem to understand how Parliament operates. when it comes to deliberating and passing very essential bills. When you talk of the finance bill of 2024, the one which is coming forward, you cannot just say that if it is passed, all members of parliament should be punished by the voters. That is a very misplaced thinking and very misplaced statement. The reason I'm saying that parties do whipping, you'll hear the president calling a PG, where he'll bring all his troops under Kenya Kwanza, the UDA members, and tell them, I don't want this, I don't want that, and all this. So with those majority, even if myself I'll move my own amendments, because there are so many things I don't agree to in the finance bill of 2024, and I'll actually mention to you if you agree or if you give me time to do so, to enlighten Kenyans. So we cannot just sit here and say, if it is passed, it's members of parliament. My friend, you need to understand how parliament operates, because we are there to represent the people. But majority carries the day. That has been the unfortunate scenario, and we did it in 2023.
You have 2 minutes. You can explain that.
Yes. Now, for example, let me talk of the eco levy.
Go ahead.
Where it is affecting most of the intermediary raw materials Kenya imports. So if you talk of, let's say, pulpwood chips, which is imported, and when it comes to this country, now eco-levy has been introduced to the raw materials, intermediary, that we don't produce in Kenya, which are supposed to support processing of finished products. I would give an example. When you are exporting horticultural crops to the Europe, there's a certain temperature those products are supposed to be maintained. And the boxes that carry them, they have certain, they have to meet certain minimum thresholds. And the material used to formulate or to make these boxes, one of them is the pulpwood chips that is imported from Brazil and other countries. So if you impose tax on these, what does that mean? Most of the exporters will not be able to export because they'll have to buy very expensive, the packaging items for these export products. And if you compare Tanzania, Tanzania has not put levy on this. So what are you telling manufacturers in Kenya? Move to Tanzania, process them from Tanzania, export to other countries, and then you lose manufacturers. And if you lose manufacturers, the ripple effect, you lose jobs. There'll be huge job cuts if we don't make amendment on this. Myself, I'll push it, I'll move it on the floor, and I'll use statistics to support my argument. If that is not respected by the majority, who normally carries the day because they've been whipped, then you can't come here and blame us. We'll all be suffering together. I can give you, after 2023, Finance Act, where we mention some of these excise duties, etc., multiple taxes. Many manufacturers have moved so far to Tanzania and to Uganda. And for a layman, go to the border, see how many lorries bring in items to Kenya. What does that tell you? Tanzania is exporting more than us now. Initially, we used to see so many lorries from the Kenyan side moving to Tanzania or to Uganda. Now it's the opposite. What is causing this? Because of punitive taxes, which we mentioned. I told them, guys, I'm a patriot. I don't speak because I'm on the side of Azimio. I'm doing it for the sake of the current generations and generations to come. And this is the kind of thinking we want Kenyans to have. At least let's have independence when it comes to making some of these policies or introducing some of these. Because you need to understand, yes, you want more revenue. And to prove that, what happened? KRI was unable to meet the target. And as a result, exchequer releases have been poorly done. You have a budget, you need money, but they don't have the money. That is what has affected county government delivery, has also affected national government CDF delivery. Like now we are moving to the next financial year and we are in arrears. We have not received all our monies. And we are even considering either to tell the CS Treasury, don't bring a new budget. First clear all the outstanding arrears before we move to the next level. So let's resonate with the reality and come up with a budget which we can implement, and don't introduce a new finance act without looking at the flows.
Is there a ploy to introduce a new one?
Well, the issue is you don't introduce a new finance bill when they already exist in one, as flaws. You need to allow and look at the current one. Where are the weaknesses? Then make amendment which will be part of the 2024 finance bill. But they are bringing new taxes on top of what was already reintroduced. So if you bring this, then you are going to kill even the mama mboga. Wheelbarrow, for example, which was a symbolic item in the Kenya Kwanza Manifesto, the UDA. Wheelbarrow, the tire itself, the cost now is going to move from, I'm talking of the tire, not the entire. I'm talking consumable because of the new excise duties and also the eco levy, where now the wheel will move from 700 shillings to over 1,000 shillings. That's a wheel, not talking of the other costs which are involved. So there is so much where we need to look into and try to understand. As a country, we have to progress. And you can't progress if you put handles on your path of progression.
Thank you so much. I have 2 minutes.
Now the global...
is ready, but allow me to ask you this question before we wind up kindly. The issue of JSS and the TSC, perhaps if you can just give us a clarity for those people who were sacked.
You will allow me 1 minute on this conversation
kindly,
and then 1 minute on that.
We are rushing to State House.
The global economic system is complicated all over the world. It's not only unique to Kenya. And Kenya has done a lot to wriggle itself out of the challenges. So coming down to the budget statement and finance bill, Parliament has concluded the crucial stage of Committee of Supplies, that is approving the budget and the policy statement that the CS will present tomorrow. And so the investment programs in the budget and with its corresponding allocation has been approved by Parliament. That is closed. That is the most crucial stage. So that tomorrow, the CS Treasury will present the budget outlook formally, proposal and estimates, and table the finance bill. And the finance bill, once tabled tomorrow, must be dispensed of within 7 days. That is the procedures of the rules of the House. And I don't think parliamentarians should be intimidated to do what is right for the country. What they are doing tomorrow is, what they will do within the next 4 days is that of the country. The budget outlook is very futuristic, and it is focusing on the major transformative pillars. Yes, talked about agriculture, and we must enhance manufacturing and value addition and promote work of farmers and several other aspects within it. But from where I come from, the social background and social justice, where we believe in social and economic equality of people, we would expect a budget that is going to focus on delivery of quality healthcare eventually and offload cost of medication from all households. Once you remove that cost, then you will have done justice to the people of Kenya. Number two, we would expect education to move to being totally free and of good quality and fully funded by government. And those are key issues. And in terms of Kenya as a destination for investment, the fact is the quality of labor within Kenya for all the investors is high and cost-effective compared to other destinations like Uganda and Tanzania. So we may never compare. So if the taxation, is going to finance the budget and is indeed going to be futuristic and transformative, then parliamentarians, regardless of political affiliation, needs to apply their mind. And then lastly, on the JS, the teachers have been out there picketing. And I think there is one problem here: poor communication of government policy. Employment of 116,000 teachers is a policy position in the Education Charter signed by the President on 23rd of June 2022 during campaigns. And it has been transformed into government policy. And 56,000 teachers have been onboarded on a program of serving for 2 years before they are converted automatically without advertisement to P&P. And this budget contains 8 billion shillings to convert 26,000 to P&P and another 2.4 billion to onboard another 20,000. That will take it up to 76,000 and gradually up to 116. So the problem is with the Teacher Service Commission. It has not understood the manifesto of Kenya Kwanza, and it has not transcribed it into a documented policy that is even adopted by Parliament. It should be adopted by Parliament so that Mheshimiwa here can communicate to his constituents. That is one. Number two, it has not taken the necessary effort of convening meetings for those teachers and communicating their privileges and rights within this framework. If they did that, we would not have this problem, because at the end of the day, the plan to onboard 116,000 and convert their terms to PNP within 2 years is very, very well outlined within government, and that is the president's intention, and you can see the allocation of funds. I'm told I'm told we're ready for State House. Even if the taxes are high, provided it translates to quality service that offloads the cost from the households
I promise to call you back, because
the
the issue of JSS and TSC and these teachers who
we can never stand alone discussion.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. Allow me to finish there. Thank you so much, Wilson Sosion. Thank you for staying with us for the last 2 hours. I have got Honorable Basil Robert, representing the great people of Yatta. He's a good guy. People of Yatta, he's a good man. He's never missed my call.
And he can be a president in future.
Don't forget us in your kingdom.
As a teacher and a mentor, I believe in young people who are determined to grow their capacity for the sake of Kenya and for the sake of humanity. So toka kwa ukabila and work with the rest of young men in Kenya and Africa.
You've talked to 2032. It can be state of spokesperson, Cynthia.
All right. No, not spokesperson.
Thank you so
Go
much.
for the big price, like anyone else.
Asante sana, Naftali. And let's now cross over to State House. I'm told that that link is ready. And okay, let's take a break, and we come back. We'll be heading there to get what's happening at State House. Thank you so much. Stay with us.
Kikohozi cha muda wowote, kutokwa na jasho kwa wingi usiku, uchungu kwenye kifua, afya kudhoofika, tafuta matibabu.
Tuseme tu namna hii, nikupatie 50 pop saa hii, utakataa?
Siwezi chukua. Unanipa za nini?
Pesa mtu anakataa.
Nakuza utanipa za nini?
Yaani Kenya mzima ulitembea ukakosa wakili.
Sasa ndani ya estate mahali sisi naishi. Si kila mtu anaita wewe ukili. Hata watu tasituka sana sasa ile hawa tabundua. Kumbe wewe ni mtu ya kunyang'anya watu, ni nyang'anyi.
Bimwa TB, TB waishi poa. Bimwa TB, TB waishi poa.
Thursday, 13th June 2024. All eyes will be on the National Treasury Cabinet Secretary, Professor Njuguna Ndung'u, as he presents the 2024-2025 budget statement policy. For an in-depth coverage of the budget policy statement, comprising the highlights of how it will affect you, expert analysis, and citizens' views, tune in to KBC Channel 1 on Thursday from 7 a.m.
Welcome back. And now it's that time that we'll be waiting for. The president is ready at State House in Nairobi, where we're having the presentation of credentials from different ambassadors and high commissioners designate who are to be actually presenting their credentials to President William Ruto at State House. The pictures that you're seeing on your screen, that's a live feed from State House Nairobi, and now we are crossing over there to get the... There you have it. Let's cross over to State House and get the sights and sounds from the house on the hill.
Asia.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic, I have the honor to present to you Anwar bin Youssef, Ambassador Designate of the Republic of Tunisia.
Excellency, Honorable Dr. William Samoei Ruto, President of the Republic of Kenya. I would like to start by conveying the warmest greetings and the best wishes of the President of the Republic of Tunisia, His Excellency Kais Saied, to you and to the brotherly people of Kenya. It's a great honor to present to Your Excellency the letters of recredence by which His Excellency Kais Saied, President of the Republic of Tunisia, appoints me as Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary to the Republic of Kenya, along with the letters of recall of my predecessor. Your Excellency, Tunisia and Kenya, as African countries, share the common destiny of struggle for independence, and since the establishment of our diplomatic relations on December 12, 1963, our two countries share a common aspiration for development and prosperity for our people. It's a privilege for me to present my nation in such amazing and beautiful country, Kenya. And in this regard, I would like to assure Your Excellency of the profound interest of Tunisia in strengthening the bilateral relation between our two countries. I will strive during my mission to contribute to the enhancement of bilateral cooperation between Tunisia and Kenya in all sectors of common interest, such as economy, health, technology, culture, academic, and military cooperation. My government is equally interested in increasing reciprocal high-level visits and in advancing negotiation on new and pending agreements so we can look forward to their conclusion and signature during the first political consultation session to be held in Tunis or in Nairobi on a later date to be decided on mutual agreement. Finally, Your Excellency, President Ruto, I would like to express the satisfaction of the Tunisian government on your plan to open a Kenyan embassy in Tunis. This decision would certainly permit a further strengthening of our already excellent relations between our people and governments. Asante sana, Mheshimiwa Rais Ruto.
Okay. Congratulations, Ambassador. I, William Samoei Ruto, President of the Republic of Kenya, by dint of Article 132(4)(b) of the Constitution of Kenya, do accept your letters of credence and authorize you, Your Excellency, to pursue the interests of your government within the territory of Kenya by fostering the bonds of friendship and promoting the widest possible sense of friendship within the law, the mutual aspirations of the people of Kenya and our two nations, and thereby enlarge our relations to merited levels. Again, Your Excellency, Ambassador, congratulations. Secretary, he'll be working very closely with you. Public Service, Deputy Chief of Staff, PS for Foreign Affairs, our Commander of the Air Force of the Republic of Kenya,
Director Americans, Director Africa. I present my Deputy Head of Mission, Mr. Sufyan Rudi.
Good morning. Thank you very much. You've been looking after the office?
Yeah.
Okay, very good.
Mrs. Marwa, she's the first secretary in the consular section.
Mrs. Marwa, how are you? Very good. How long have you been in Kenya? Okay.
It's for 4 months.
4 months.
It's 4, yeah, quite 4. We all the new team.
Okay.
Mr. Semi Alfawi is first secretary.
Alfawi, how are you? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Ambassador-designate of the Republic of Chile.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic, I have the honor to present to you Alberto Aki Vashieri, Ambassador-designate of the Republic of Chile.
Your Excellency, Mr. William Samoei Ruto, President of the Republic of Kenya. Ninataka kwanza kuwasilisha salamu na heri njema kutoka kwa Rais wa Chile, Gabriel Boric Fon, kwa wananchi na serikali ya Kenya. The Minister of Foreign Affairs, Mr. Alberto Van Claveren, also has interest in strengthening bilateral ties with Kenya and continuing cooperation in both bilateral and multilateral arenas. Mr. President, I'm very pleased to see that this year and the upcoming year will be a great opportunity to hold high-level bilateral events. Chile has proposed to its Kenyan counterparts to hold this year the first meeting of Chile-Kenyan Joint Committee on Trade and Investment in August in Santiago, Chile. We believe this is a great opportunity to exchange views and foster cooperation between two countries from the global south in areas such as science, technology, trade, mining, agriculture, and sustainability. Additionally, Mr. President, on November 6th, we are proposing to have our second session of political consultation on the Vice Minister level here in Nairobi. We look forward to these visits and meetings, which represent an important step in deepening our bilateral relations. Mr. President, I'm also very happy to announce that we are carefully studying the possibility of President Boric visiting Kenya next year to commemorate the 50th anniversary of our diplomatic relations. If this happens, Mr. President, it will be the first time in our diplomatic history that the President of Chile visits Kenya, a milestone that will strengthen our partnership. Mr. President, Nimalise kuwa kutoa chukrani sanku, sadati kuwa makarabishu masuri ambayo, nimapata katika inchi itsuri na ya ayahu. Nina imani kuwa tunaweza kufanya kazi pamoja kwa manufaa ya watu wetu. Asante sana, Mr. President.
Pongezi. Congratulations, Ambassador, on your appointment. Thank you so much. I, William Samoei Ruto, by dint of Article 132(4)(b) of the Constitution of Kenya, do here accept your letters of credence and authorize Your Excellency to pursue the interests of your government within the territory of Kenya by fostering the bonds of friendship and promoting to the widest possible within the law the mutual aspirations of the people of our two nations, and thereby enlarge the relations between our people to the widest and possible extent. Again, congratulations, and I look forward to welcoming my brother, the President of Chile, on his first visit to the Republic of Kenya, God willing, next year. Congratulations again. Thank you. African Cabinet Secretary and Minister for Foreign Affairs, Head of Public Service, Deputy Chief of Staff in my office, the PS Principal Secretary Foreign Affairs, Commander of our Kenya Air Force,
Director Europe, Director Americas, Director Africa.
President, I introduce my Chief of Deputy Secretary, Your Excellency.
Thank you very much and welcome. Hello, Mom. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you again, Ambassador. Yes. Thank you very much.
Ambassador Designate of the Republic of Argentina.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic, I have the honor to present to you Luis Alejandro Levitt, Ambassador Designate of the Republic of Argentina.
His Excellency, Mr. President William Samuel Ruto, I'd like to start by conveying the greetings of the President of Argentina, Javier Milei, and his wishes for growing prosperity for you, Mr. President, for the people of Kenya, and for your government. My authorities have a strong interest in strengthening the friendship ties that unite our countries, together with our common values of freedom, peace, and democracy, which we have shared since we established diplomatic relations. In that respect, we will focus on promoting new opportunities for bilateral cooperation in agriculture as a contribution to food security, together with other areas such as cooperation in sports, education, health, nuclear and space, with the main goal of our people's prosperity. The bilateral relations between Kenya and Argentina are a priority for my government. We want to increase ties through visits from authorities and technical missions that could result in new agreements with the goal of putting our relationships at the highest level. In this sense, last year, we made a decision to expand the staff of our embassy in Nairobi. We want to convey our wish that Kenya can open a resident embassy in Buenos Aires. For this, you can count on the full cooperation and support of the Argentine government and the hospitality of our people, so this can become a reality. We especially want to express our recognition and gratitude to the Republic of Kenya for the leadership and commitment shown in the mission of Haiti's recovery. Your Excellency, please count on the full support of the Argentine Republic to ensure the success of such a valuable mission. Excellency, in conclusion, I will spare no effort in accomplishing the mission entrusted to me by my President and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Diana Mondino, to deepen our bilateral relations and to promote together our common values. Let me finish with a message from the Argentine people to the Kenyan people. Nungu ibariki Kenya. Asante san. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Congratulations, Ambassador. Welcome to Kenya. I, William Samoei Ruto, President of the Republic of Kenya, by dint of Article 1324B of the Constitution of Kenya, do accept your letters of credence and authorize Your Excellency to pursue the interests of your government within the territory of Kenya by fostering the bonds of friendship and promoting to the widest possible within the law the mutual aspirations of the people of our two nations, and thereby enlarge our relations to levels possible and merited. Again, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Cabinet Secretary and Minister for Foreign Affairs, Head of Public Service, Deputy Chief of Staff, PS Foreign Affairs, Commander of our Kenya Air Force,
Director Europe, Director Americas, Director Africa.
Thank you. Hello, and welcome to Kenya. Welcome to Kenya.
Deputy Chief of Mission,
Cynthia, how are you? Thank you very much. You've been looking after the office?
Yes, of course.
And the Secretary Celeste.
Okay. Thank you very much. Welcome again.
Thank you.
Ambassador Designate of the Republic of Peru.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic, I have the honor to present to you Ronnie Sonia Tinkopa, Ambassador Designate of the Republic of Peru.
Your Excellency, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, President of the Republic of Kenya. I would like to express you the warm greetings for the President of the Republic of Peru, Mrs. Dina Boluarte, and from the Peruvian people. Let me take this opportunity to express my sincere gratitude for the kind welcome and hospitality that Peru has received since we arrived in this beautiful country. As you know, last year, Peru decided to reopen its embassy in Nairobi with a firm commitment to promote relations with Kenya and East African countries and to intensify its participation in multilateral processes focused mainly on actions against climate change. Peru and Kenya have 48 years of diplomatic relations, reflecting our shared value of friendship, cooperation, and mutual respect. In this sense, we will seek to strengthen ties in all possible areas, including trade, investment, agriculture, tourism, and culture, among others. We will also identify opportunities to collaborate in exchanging knowledge, technology, and experiences for the benefit of our peoples. In addition, I would like to reaffirm Peru's commitment to strengthening multilateral cooperation in international forums such as the United Nations and the African Union. We need to work together in finding solutions to global challenges such as climate change, plastic pollution, poverty, food security, gender equality, and peace and security. In this last item, Peru appreciates the decision of your government to lead a multinational security support mission in Haiti and hopes that its success will benefit the Haitian people and the Latin American and Caribbean region. Mr. President, Peru will work together with Kenya to foster a strong and beneficial partnership for both nations and to contribute to the well-being and prosperity of our people. Thank you.
I, William Samoei Ruto, President of Kenya, by dint of Article 1324B of the Constitution of Kenya, do accept your letters of credence and authorize Your Excellency to pursue the interests of your government within the territory of Kenya by fostering the bonds of friendship and promoting to the widest possible within the law the mutual aspirations of the peoples of our two nations and thereby enlarge our relations to levels merited and to the extent possible. Congratulations again and welcome to Kenya. Ambassador, let me introduce you, Prime Cabinet Secretary and Cabinet Secretary for Foreign Affairs, Head of Public Service, the Republic of Kenya, Deputy Chief of Staff in my office, Principal Secretary for Foreign Affairs, Commander of our Kenya Air Force.
Director Europe, Director Americas, Director Africa.
Thank you. President is on my staff. Second Secretary Rios.
Okay. Second Secretary, how are you?
I'm fine.
How long have you been in Kenya?
6 months.
Okay, very good. Welcome to Kenya.
Thank you.
Pleasure, Excellency. Habari ya asubuhi.
Mzuri sana, ma'am.
Yes, she's at the consultant.
Okay, thank you very much.
Nice meeting you. Our assistant.
Okay, thank you very much.
Nice
Thank you.
to meet you.
Please look after her.
I will.
Okay.
Thank you.
Ambassador Designate of Bosnia and Herzegovina,
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic, I have the honor to present to you Dr. Sabit Subasic, Ambassador Designate of Bosnia and Herzegovina, with residence in Cairo, Egypt. Your Excellency. Please. Your Excellency. Please.
Your Excellency, I have honor to present to you, Excellency, the letter of recall of my predecessor and my credential by which Presidency of Bosnia and Herzegovina has appointed me to be next Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary of Bosnia and Herzegovina to the Republic of Kenya. Allow me, Your Excellency, to present the compliments of the Presidency of Bosnia and Herzegovina and the people of Bosnia and Herzegovina to you personally and through you to the people of Kenya. It's my earnest hope that I shall succeed in my endeavors to promote further the relation that exists between two countries and that has a long history, even from period of former Yugoslavia, in which Bosnia and Herzegovina was Central Republic,
we established good economic ties, and some important Bosnian companies were successfully present here in Kenya for years. Your Excellency, let me remind you that the Presidency of Bosnia and Herzegovina brought a decision to open the embassy in Nairobi, which will be the only embassy that we have in this part of Africa. We believe that this will be additional incentive for strengthening bilateral relations between two countries even further.
I, William Samoei Ruto, President of Kenya, by dint of Article 1324B of the Constitution of Kenya, do accept your letters of credence and authorize Your Excellency to pursue the interests of your government within the territory of Kenya by fostering the bonds of friendship and promoting to the widest possible and within the law the mutual aspirations of the peoples of our two nations, and thereby enlarge our relations to the widest possible extent and merit. I welcome the decision of your government to open an embassy in Nairobi, and I look forward to the conclusion of that exercise. Congratulations, Ambassador, on your appointment, and welcome to Kenya.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Ambassador, Prime Cabinet Secretary, and Minister for Foreign Affairs.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Head of Public Service,
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Deputy Chief of Staff in my office, Principal Secretary for Foreign Affairs,
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Commander of Kenya Air Force,
Very pleased.
Director Europe.
We met. Thank you.
Director Americas.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Madam.
Director Africa.
Thank you very much. Mr. President, Honorary Consul of Bosnia-Herzegovina.
Oh, thank you very much.
Thank you, President.
You have my support as you work hard between our two countries.
Asante sana.
Asante sana.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
High Commissioner Designate of the Republic of Jamaica.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic, I have the honor to present to you Mrs. Joanne Thomas Edwards, High Commissioner Designate of the Republic of Jamaica, with residence in Pretoria, the Republic of South Africa.
Your Excellency, Mr. President, on behalf of the government and people of Jamaica, I am honored by this opportunity to present my letters of credence to Your Excellency and the letters of recall for my predecessor. I bring greetings on behalf of the Prime Minister of Jamaica, the Most Honorable Andrew Onus, and Her Excellency, the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, Minister Kamina Johnson-Smith, and personally to you too, Mr. President. Jamaica and Kenya share strong bonds of friendship, which are deeply rooted in our shared historical past. Our similarities are to a large extent anchored in our cultures and mutual love of music and sport. Over the years, our bilateral interactions have deepened. This is evidenced by various agreements signed in the fields of air services, sport, culture, and heritage. There are also political consultations. We have movements in the area of trade and investment and tourism as well. During my tenure as Jamaica's High Commissioner to Kenya, it is my intention to advance discussions and actions in these areas to further strengthen our partnership. We also intend to strengthen the people-to-people contacts between our peoples through a variety of means, including cultural exchanges. It was a pleasure to also observe that there was a signing of an MOU between the Jamaica Stock Exchange in Jamaica and the Kenya Securities Exchange, an important step. Importantly, Mr. President, Jamaica is pleased to partner with Kenya in the area of digitalization following our discussions recently, and we look forward to knowledge sharing in this area. Mr. President, in the multilateral fora, Jamaica and Kenya have had shared and common positions and interests. In the multilateral arena, the UN, the WTO, we have shared positions. So I take this opportunity to express appreciation for the offer by Kenya to lead the multinational support mission to Haiti and its interest in restoring stability to Haiti. And we reaffirm Jamaica's commitment to supporting this critical mission. Additionally, Jamaica and CARICOM look forward to the conclusion of the pending Memorandum of Understanding, the MOU, between CARICOM and the African Union to establish a consultation cooperation mechanism between CARICOM member states and Kenya. Jamaica and Kenya, and the region, rather, look forward to strengthening our commitment as the sixth region of Africa to strengthen the bonds of friendship and cooperation between our regions. Again, Mr. President, I reaffirm the commitment of Jamaica in strengthening our bonds of friendship. I thank you.
I, William Samoei Ruto, President of Kenya, by dint of Article 1324B of the Constitution of Kenya, accept your letters of credence and authorize Your Excellency to pursue the interests of your government within the territory of Kenya by fostering the bonds of friendship and promoting to the widest possible within the law the mutual aspirations of the peoples of our two nations, thereby expand our relations to the widest extent possible. I also welcome the support of your government in the leadership of Kenya on the mission to Haiti to restore stability in that country. And also welcome CARICOM's participation as the sixth region of the African Union. Madam Ambassador, congratulations on your appointment and welcome to Kenya. Madam High Commissioner, Prime Cabinet Secretary, and Minister for Foreign Affairs, Head of Public Service, Deputy Chief of Staff in my office, Principal Secretary for Foreign Affairs, Commander of our Kenya Air Force,
Director Europe, Director America, Director Africa.
And now, Mr. President, I have the honor to present to you the Honorary Consul of Jamaica, resident in Kenya, Mrs. Sue Amala.
Thank you very much, and thank you for looking after the interests of Jamaica in Kenya.
Thank you very much. Mr. President, I also present to you the Minister Counselor in the High Commission for Jamaica in the Republic of South Africa, Mr. Andrew Francis.
Mr. Francis, how are you? Thank you very much.
Your Excellency, sir, to bring this to a close, we'll finish with the Kenyan anthem, followed by the East African anthem, the Kenyan anthem.
Kikohozi cha muda wowote, kutokwa na jasho kwa wingi usiku, uchungu kwenye kifua, afya kudhoofika, tafuta matibabu.
The phone calls and the text messages, for the last 72 hours.
They will be suspicious, Alice.
Can you stop micromanaging?
Eye on the goal.
You have to promise that you will not tell anyone.
You can trust me.
I need every detail, kila kitu, umesikia?
Je, una malimbikizi ya ushuru? Mamlaka ya utozaji ushuru nchini KRA inakupa msamaha wa adhabu na riba ya ushuru kufikia tarehe 31 Disemba 2022 kupitia Tax Amnesty Program. Ili kujua jinsi ya kupata msamaha, jiunge nasi kwenye maonyesho ya barabarani kote nchini ukiletewa na KRA kwa ushirikiano na KBC. Pia tutakuelekeza jinsi ya kujaza fomu za ushuru na kujisajili kwa e-Teams, mfumo mpya unaokusaidia kutoa risiti za kidijitali kwa njia rahisi. Ijumaa tarehe 14 Juni, msafara wetu utaingia kaunti ya Uasin Gishu katika maeneo ya Cheptiret, Langas, 64 Stadium, Chepkoilel Junction, Juakali na Eldoret Town. Kisha Jumamosi tarehe 15 Juni, tutatembelea kaunti ya Trans Nzoia, maeneo ya Soi, Nangili, Matunda, Moi's Bridge, Kitale, Cherangani, Endebess, Kiminini, Kwanza na Saboti. KRA, tulipe ushuru, tujitegemee. Thursday, 13th June 2024. All eyes will be on the National Treasury Cabinet Secretary, Professor Njuguna Ndung'u, as he presents the 2024-2025 budget statement policy. For an in-depth coverage of